Hey everybody, how we doing out there? Let people start coming in here. We're getting a little bit of an early start. Nothing wrong with that. Give it a couple minutes for everyone to come on in before we get it kicked off. Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Not that everybody's here yet. Hey Jasmine, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Good to have you guys here, as always. What's going on, everybody? Where are we watching from tonight? I see Lisa, I see Jasmine. Who else we got out there? Got a couple more people, it looks like. Put it in the chat. Tell me where you are coming from. I am early. It's crazy, right? I'm a couple minutes early. I figured this would be a little bit of a hangout time before we get it started. Hang out a little bit, and then we're gonna get it going. We got a great show tonight. If I do say so myself, really great show. We're gonna cover a lot of cool stuff tonight. I'm doing great. Thank you. Well, we got a couple more minutes before we kick it off. I just want to start off early so I can spend some time and say hello to everybody. Becky, how you doing? Glad to be here. Glad to have you here tonight as well, too. Awesome to have you. Yeah, tonight's going to be a good one. We're going to cover a lot of stuff tonight. Awesome. I know we got Pennsylvania. We got DC area, Canada. And we will get going here in a minute. But a lot of stuff going on right now, right? A lot of things happening in the news. And there's a lot just going on. Obviously, a lot to talk about. Today is a big day. And we're going to crush it. You know, we're going to talk all the way from current events, things happening out in the news, all the way to potential World War III. And then talk about your physical and financial survival plan. We might hit a little bit of South Park. And for sure, we're going to talk about some UAPs, UFOs, with all the new stuff that has just been going on. Alexandria, Virginia in the house with all the stuff going on. Mark, what's going on, man? Good to have you here. We're going to get this thing rolling. All right, it is 8 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get it going right now. And as we start, obviously, it is 9/11, and I think it's going to be very important to go ahead and just remember 9/11 and what it means. And, you know, so many years ago now today, right, 9/11, we had that terrible terrorist attack on the Twin Towers in New York City. And just what does that mean for us today? You know, I think I can remember this being absolutely life-changing for so many people in the world, in the United States, and definitely down at a granular level, down to New York City, first responders, people in New York. And then for my own life as a Marine, you know, I saw the Twin Towers. I saw the plane hit one of the towers coming in from a run, and watched it on TV, not live. I was in California at the time. And I just thought to myself instantly, this is a terror attack. And then while I was watching the second plane hit, I knew it was a terror attack. And all I thought to myself, and I believe I said it to someone else too, is that we're going to war. This is a terror attack, no doubt about it. At the time, I was studying terrorist organizations and working on strategies and things like that for how terror groups work. And so I knew that the spectacular attack was something that many of the groups were attempting to do, and it was done right in front of our eyes. And that was a, you know, obviously a life-changing, life-altering, world-changing event. And let's go ahead and just watch this for a second and make sure that we don't ever forget 9/11, never forget, and remember what was going on that day so long ago.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft. We don't know if it was a private aircraft. We have no idea how many were on board or what the extent of the injuries are right now. We have, I understand, an eyewitness on the phone right now. Sir, good morning. This is Bryant Gumbel. Could you give us your name?
Yeah, my name is Stuart.
Stuart, where are you right now?
I'm working at a restaurant in Soho.
All right, so tell us what you saw, if you would.
I was waiting at a table and I literally saw it seemed to be like a small plane. I just heard a couple noises. It looked like it bounced off the building, and then I just saw a huge ball of fire on top. And then the smoke seemed to simmer down, and it just, a lot of smoke was coming out, and that's pretty much the extent of what I saw.
Can you tell us about the scene down there right now?
Right now, people are just on the street looking at the building. The building, there's just a lot of smoke. It's not.
And as we all know, only a few minutes later that actually the towers, collapsed. And so, terrible thing that happened. And still to this day, my heart, my prayers, my thoughts go out to the families, families of the survivors, the surviving families, the loved ones, first responders, everybody that was running to the sound of the chaos and helping people out, and anybody that was in New York City at the time, anyone that knew somebody that had a loved one in the Twin Towers attack. And then, my thoughts, prayers, and my heart goes out to all the, men and women and everybody who was serving and got involved in the global war on terror and everything else, and had to have their lives drastically changed after that event. And so in so many ways, that event impacted so many people, and not just U.S. servicemen and women, but around the world as well too. So just a day to remember. And, I will tell you one thing. One thing I do remember about 9/11 is I remember the unity. I remember you didn't see then, after 9/11, you didn't see a whole lot of disunity. You didn't see a whole lot of dissension. You didn't see people bickering and fighting over small things. You didn't see as much divide. You saw a very unified country. And to me, it's kind of sad a little bit in what I see going on today, to see that we have so much division, we have so much vitriol, so much hatred, where one side thinks the other side is evil in some cases. But it takes an event like this to bring people together sometimes. And I'm not advocating for that, but I'm saying that I do remember that about 9/11, that all these barriers, a lot of them went away, and people stood together and knew what had to be done. We had to do something. We had to protect our country. We had to help the people out that were affected by the attack. And so that rolls me into my next topic, is that, and I really think about this, where are we today? Where are we today as a country with what's going on, and talking about the recent political violence we've had from Charlie Kirk being killed, okay? And I have a lot to say on this because I'm politically independent. You guys all know that have been following me here for a while and watch me in the War Room, follow my channels, things like that. I'm politically independent. But I'll tell you what, the definition to me of tyranny and the definition of someone who wants to be a tyrant is someone who wants to control your thoughts, and they want to control your speech, and they want to control what you can think and what you can do, and they want to cancel you, and they want to tell you you're wrong. And they think it's okay to write crazy ass comments anywhere in social media, and they think that's okay, where they even comments of, oh, what, all human life matters now? All lives matter now? And they think this is a joke. They don't realize this is real life. This is real life and death. And this was a man who brought back the spirit of debate again in a lot of ways. He made young men in America and women honor debate, honor differences. And yeah, he would argue his points. I don't always agree with his politics. I don't always agree with a lot of the things he said, but I did respect the hell out of the fact that he let people take a shot at him. And not in that sense, but in the sense that he let people have their chance to speak against him and try to beat him in debate. And he made it kind of cool to have a spirited debate, to disagree with people, and for people to actually disagree and to argue and battle with their words, right? And so some people will say, like, well, his words were violent, things like that. No, there's a big difference between picking up a gun and shooting somebody, or using your fists or knives or weapons, and then saying things and standing up for what you believe in an open forum. Okay, this is someone who is out in the open, unfortunately, and he exposed himself so that somebody could do violence against him. And I just want to say that because who's next? Who's next after this has happened to him? And I'm going to show you something that's a little bit concerning right now. Okay, I'll show you kind of who's next here. Okay, and it's really kind of insane. So take a look at this. And again, this is from MSNBC. Okay, they're definitely a little left-leaning, but they're right. I'm using this for a reason. They're talking about all the different instances of political violence in recent years, okay? Assassination of Charlie Kirk, shooting at the CDC headquarters, assassination shooting of Minnesota lawmakers. That was nuts, by the way, okay? Guy went in with a realistic mask and started killing people. Okay, shooting of Israeli embassy couple, firebombing attack in Colorado of marchers for hostages, arson attack on Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro's residence, killing of United Healthcare CEO, okay? Again, this is more of an anarchist motto, where they have the propaganda of the deed, back to the anarchists' playbook way back in the day, I believe at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries, okay? And killing of a Palestinian-American boy, 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. Not just 1, 2. Attack on Paul Pelosi, January 6th Capitol riot, okay? Plot to kidnap Minnesota Governor Gretchen Whitmer. A lot of stuff has been going on. And what I want to say is that this isn't what's going to move the agenda. This isn't what's going to make the change, okay? Political violence, what's going to happen is usually there's going to be a swing the other direction. And what I want to say right now is for any young men and women out there listening, or anyone who is politically active, I want to say to you that the way forward, what we need right now, more than anything, is we need courage. We need more courage, okay? We need more courage going forward. It takes courage to not get closed up and to stop speaking now. It takes courage to say, you know what? I know the dangers. I know there are crazies out there that are going to do crazy things, but we're going to spread it around a little bit. We're going to make sure that other people, more people are speaking up, more people are saying what they have to say, more people are exercising their voice, okay? And not being intimidated by people that are trying to take your right to speak away. Because to me, that is the ultimate form of tyranny. This is what the Nazis were doing, right? They want to take your rights away. Anyone who's trying to take away your right to speak and to speak what you think and to argue and debate, this is un-American. This isn't what we do, okay? Our country is strong because we have many different voices, many different opinions. And honestly, we're the most competitive economically because of free market capitalism, where we have people competing in the marketplace. It's the same thing in politics. We compete for the vote. We compete for the best ideas. And therefore, we don't make huge strategic blunders like one Vladimir Putin allegedly is doing. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show as well, too. Okay? How he has no dissenting opinions. He's a full-out dictator right now. No one can tell him he's wrong. Where in our country, many people go at it, they argue, they debate, factions fight for political power, right? And they debate and they argue and they go at each other. But what we want to do is make sure it doesn't get into political violence, and here's why. Because then might becomes right. Whoever has the strongest thugs, the strongest security apparatus, the best way to shut the other side up wins. And then we start going towards authoritarian regime. We start going towards dictatorship. We start going towards a lot of bad things that our country doesn't stand for. And we don't get the best people in charge. Okay? So we just lost a tremendous future leader. Just terrible. And we've lost other leaders in the past too, as I just pointed out from that graphic I put up, okay? The slide I just put up. Let's watch this. Chris Cuomo talking about Charlie Kirk.
Here, thank you for being with News Nation. Moments like this matter. Charlie Kirk murdered at a university in Utah, doing what he thought was part of the solution. President Trump first announced his death and ordered flags, half-staff. FBI Director Kash Patel just announced that they have a suspect in custody. There's some question about whether or not it's a person of interest or a suspect. We're going to know who did this. We're going to know why. And I don't even know that that part really matters, and we'll talk about that. But I knew Charlie Kirk. I saw sides of him that were not his public persona. You know him as a digital big shot who helped organize young voters for President Trump and really helped get him elected, which made him a hero to some and a devil to others. But Turning Point USA made a difference. And then Charlie did something really special. He started going around the country telling students to prove him wrong. And he made debate and disagreeing without being disagreeable cool again.
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs with they have a black sounding name.
That's not even close to being true. That's not even close to being true.
That is a literal.
In fact, it's the opposite.
I'm not going to argue your experience. I'm not going to know.
See, now you have to listen to him under your rules because a black person is going to say you're wrong.
I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime. And we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally equivalate people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable.
You know, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe he's gone. I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. And then I've just got one more quick video here to share with you guys. That I think is really important. Okay. So to get a good sense of, our history of political violence and the questions you may be asking yourselves, like I ask myself, and I think about it, where is this coming from? How come there's so much hatred? How come it's so easy for people to write these crazy, disgusting comments? I'll never forget when I posted a post of President Trump. Okay. This is me as an independent. Okay. This is me as an independent. Okay. Like I said, I call it like I see it. I do what I want politically. Okay. I'm no big fan of either side, honestly. Okay. And I call it like I see it. But if I think something makes sense, it makes sense to me, and that's it. But I posted a picture of President Trump after he was the assassination attempt. I can't explain to you the insane comments I received from people on the left, okay, assuming they knew my politics, assuming they knew what I thought, okay? Of course, being a United States Marine, right away they assume they know exactly what I think, right? And then, being who I am, my race, maybe my physical presence, things like that, being a combat veteran, they assume they know what I think. They attacked, I can't explain to you, as one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen politically and on commentary, okay? And I saw it the other day too, where somebody posted a video about saying something about Charlie Kirk and political violence, and not saying that they were a conservative supporter, just saying this is not right. He was a voice and he had something to say, and we're losing a leader for our country. And people went nuts, and they were saying all these crazy things, like something like, oh, we got to let that guy off, on community service. It was just a minor thing. He just made a one-time mistake. I mean, really, like, making light of it. And this guy does a great job in the video explaining this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this, because I know for me, I'm trying to, again, the purpose of this podcast, of this channel, the Ferocious Optimist podcast, officially what I'm calling it now. Okay, just like the Ferocious Optimist community, I have my community, my coaching membership. Okay, so my point is to upgrade your life. And I think understanding what's going on in the world, understanding context, will help you to upgrade your life, help you to solve problems that are out there that you're dealing with, and help us to form a plan, a strategy, and tactics in how to move forward for today with what's going on. And so here we go. Let's watch this because I think this is going to help you to make some sense of just what the hell is going on right now with our country. Okay? Check this out.
Mark, you say a lot of the divisiveness we see today has to do with a fragmented media landscape. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think social media gives us an opportunity to purvey extreme views from one side or the other with absolute impunity. And it gets us angered and enraged. And for social media purveyors, that enragement means engagement. It's good for them. It's good for their business. So they don't discourage this. I think we have to understand.
So just so everybody understands like what he's saying, and I know you guys understand this, but I just want to say it again because I think it's important point to bring back up. He's saying enragement is engagement. Okay, I've heard this before with some young social media influencers who will say, "Oh, rage bait them, get them to get crazy and say things." These words that he said just now in this interview helped me to understand why people feel it's okay to be so disgusting in the comments. Okay, because a lot of the times it's welcomed. The crazier things you can say get more attention, and then people like their comments. They get attention for their comments. Okay, so there is, in my opinion, a desensitization, a dehumanization, a detachment, lots of D's there, okay, for what's going on with social media and the behavior people exhibit in social media when compared to what they would do in real life, okay? And so the crazy comments, unfortunately, psychologically, this does take a toll. And it's almost like, well, if I would do that in social media, why can't I then do something else? Why can't I then go even further? Now, clearly someone that picks up a sniper rifle and assassinates someone, this is a whole nother level of being a psychopath. Okay. So let's hear some more of what he has to say.
Good for them. It's good for their business. So they don't discourage this. I think we have to understand that these devices add to the divisions that we see in our country and be more responsible with what we're putting out there, despite the fact that it doesn't come back to stick this, despite the fact that we can do so with impunity. We shouldn't do it because that affects the social fabric of our country. That creates to the divisions that we're seeing today, Diane.
And I think one of the things I want to add here is that the fragmentation, okay, the fragmentation of the media today, where people don't trust what they see on TV or what they read. They only trust trusted sources who they look at as someone who knows the truth. Okay. And so if you only have one source for your information and your news, you're not hearing several voices. You're definitely hearing something that's biased. Okay. And unfortunately, there are people that live in this spin world and they live in this conspiracy world and they fill their heads with it. Okay. Garbage in, garbage out, just like they train the AIs, okay? They train the artificial intelligence. Your mind is soaking up everything you consume, okay? And so what happens is that I think this has a huge, profound effect on our youth. Well, not just on the youth, on anybody that's consuming these things. People that, spend hours in the spin room, right? Or hours in, some type of, let's say, extremist left or right, doesn't matter. Okay, extremist type conspiracy news cycle or shows, right? You can really get some serious fear. First of all, fear of the other side, and then you can also have hatred. One of the things I've seen significantly, again, being a political independent, I've seen that people from the left oftentimes will view people that are conservative on the right, especially on the far right. Okay, whether they're lawbreakers or not, or whether they're bad people or not, they'll see them as evil. Okay, even people that I've seen that recently, and it's shocking because in the past, I didn't see that coming from the left. I didn't see the crazy hatred, things like that, this radicalism. Now, far left, you always did, right? You had anarchists, things like that. Far left radicals, you definitely saw it. And far right extremists, you saw crazy stuff too, both extremes. But it seems like there's a rise back again, as I said. It's called the propaganda of the deed. And it's something that was part of anarchist playbook, philosophy, strategy, where They're trying to make, again, it's like a terrorist. This is terrorism. What happened is an assassination, but this is pure terrorism. Point, period, paragraph. The point is, I murder one, I assassinate one, I terrorize thousands. You will shut your mouth. No one will admit to it, but they're going to shut their mouths. You know what I say? Screw you, okay? That's what I say. Screw you. You're not going to shut anyone's mouth. And not even that I agree with the politics on that one side, okay, on the conservative side. But how dare you? How dare anybody think they can do that? And if it's an isolated act, which most likely, not conspiracy theorists would say, Ben, you're nuts, you're naive. It's not, okay? But we're going to find out. We're going to find out what the motives are and what the hell's going on there. They're going to catch the guy and we're going to figure it out, okay? But this is the time to be brave. This is the time to be courageous, okay? Not a time to shut up. Because it's right now, we need to decide. We need to decide what kind of country we want to live in. We need to decide where's the direction of our country going, okay? Are we going to stand for this? Are we going to make this okay? I'm telling you, your voice matters. What you say matters, all right? I've been around some of the bravest people you can imagine, the toughest ass people you can imagine doing crazy things, fighting for each other, all right? But a cowardly attack on someone who's a speaker, what did Charlie Kirk do? He talks, okay? Always talks dangerous. Yeah, whatever, okay? You know what's more dangerous? A psychopath with a sniper rifle in a crowd shooting somebody, okay? And so, but who's next? Who's next? Let's go back to that graphic again. Lots of Democrats on there too, all right? Democrats on there, liberals on there, conservatives on there. Okay, if this is the way this is becoming, this is going to destabilize our country. Okay, and it will affect you in your pocketbooks too, because market forces like stability. They don't like instability. All right, but this is the time we have to make a decision. What kind of country we want to be? Who do we want to be? Where are my damn leaders? Is the question I have to ask. Where are my young leaders? Where are you out there? Okay, on both sides, where you're going to tolerate this. They will listen to your voices. They will listen to your voices. And you can't be afraid of the bastards out there that are trying to take your rights from you and trying to bully you through intimidation, through all this crap, okay? This is a psychological war. It is a morally courageous war, like I've talked about before in my recent video on discipline, courage, and confidence. There are two different types of courage. There's moral courage and there's physical courage. This takes a lot of moral courage because you have a fear of physical danger, okay? So it's physical courage as well, too, to speak up, to say something. Influence your peers, okay? I don't care if you're liberal, you're conservative, I don't care what you are. As a young person, older person, I don't care. But we have to have limits of what we will tolerate, okay? We have to have limits. Speaking, talking, debating, trash talking, all those things like that, that's one thing. Violence, attacking, bullying, intimidation, threats. We've got to come to a better place, okay? I'm saying on both sides. You saw that slide. Both sides are being attacked. There's violence on both sides happening, okay? Most recently, obviously, Charlie Kirk being assassinated, all right? We can't dehumanize the other side, okay? They just don't see things the way we do, but we've got to figure this out going forward. And why I say we need courage right now more than ever, okay? We need to look no further than what happened on that train to Irina Zarutska, okay? 23-year-old from Ukraine, sitting there minding her own business. Some psychopath comes up from behind her, stabs her 3 times in the neck, and walks off. And what did anyone do? What did anybody do? I'm not even saying trying to stop the guy. It might have happened so fast, which I'm sure it did. Prison style, okay? Stabbed her so fast. But someone had to see she was in distress. No one did a damn thing. No one said anything. No one did anything that I know of, okay? Tell me I'm wrong, okay? Like Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong on this. No one did anything. Were people afraid? I'm sure. Were they scared? Yes. Were they confused? Yes. But when we think of others before we think of our damn selves all the time, I'm too tired, I'm too this, I got to get moving, I don't have time for this, I'm not getting involved. When you think for a second that maybe someone's life matters just as much as yours does, you might ask them, are you okay? And you'll see that they're friggin' bleeding everywhere. And you can apply some pressure, call 911, maybe she would have survived. Probably not. I know that. From being a combat veteran and knowing some things about combat trauma, probably not. But there's a chance. And at a minimum, you did something. Okay? The worst regret you can ever have is to know you had a moment to be courageous and you shrunk down and did nothing. Okay? Resist, resist, resist. Resist to your utmost. Always. Okay? Fight. Always. You gotta resist the urge to be sucked down into this cold world of being a coward. Okay? And being complete mediocrity and being like a sheep. Okay? So that's what I wanted to say about that. This is why I know right now more than ever, we need our leaders to step up. My young men, my young women out there, my middle-aged men and women, my old wise generation, the things you know, the things you've seen, okay? Let your words be heard, all right? Influence those who are coming up behind you. Teach them the way. Your words matter. I'm telling you, one thing I learned for sure is that a little bit of leadership goes a long damn way, okay? And I'll get off my soapbox on that, but I think it's really important at this point in time we point this out. We've got too many things happening, and we're about to have really big strategic issues happening, okay? Which leads me into my next issue right now, the next topic. Going to talk about, as I said, Vladimir Putin, Russia, testing NATO, China, Taiwan, and possibly World War III. Some people say we've already begun World War III when Russia invaded Ukraine. And that was just the beginning. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to show you guys a video here. Because this, like I said, this has got to be a time we come together. And then we might be forced, whether you like it or not, or whether we like it or not, to all come together and unite. All right, but we better have our shit figured out. We better figure out what's what and what we believe in and what we value as Americans, because this country matters and we matter. Okay? And what we think matters. And our impact in the world matters. But we have to be strong within if we're going to face what might be coming, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. And you guys know me. I don't fearmonger. I don't do conspiracy. I mean, the UFOs might be a little bit of conspiracy, but not really. They got a lot of evidence, okay? I don't really do all that stuff, okay? I'm telling you exactly what I really think. For better or for worse, for you guys. Let's check this out.
Outrage from Polish and NATO leaders over Russia's unprecedented incursion into Poland. Poland's prime minister with this warning, saying the situation brings us the closest we have been to open conflict since World War II. Russia's defense ministry claiming they had not planned to hit any targets in Poland, but 19 drones entered the country, violating the airspace of a NATO ally. Just hours after the drones entered, President Trump asking, "What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones?" Adding, "Here we go." NATO scrambling F-35 and F-16 jets, shooting down 4 of the drones, the first time NATO has ever engaged an enemy over its territory. The owners of this house damaged by a drone say suddenly something boomed, a light fell, and when they looked outside, sheets of metal were flying from the roof. Just days ago, I sat down with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who says Vladimir Putin does not want peace.
And I always said we can't trust Putin. He plays games, and he's playing games with the United States. I think so. It's my mind.
You said he's playing games.
Yes, I think he's playing games. Putin's playing games.
Well, tell me what you guys think. Put it in the chat. What do you think? What is going on there? And like I said, after each segment, I'm going to get to your questions, okay? So please put your questions, your comments in the chat. All right? What do you guys think about that? I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? We're going to look at Vladimir Putin. We're going to take a look at his psychology, his mindset, and just who this man is, okay? I've heard some things recently where people talk about, they admire Putin. They admire some things about him, okay? I could see that. I see that. He's a strong leader, right? But you need to understand that this is a person, this is a man who is a dictator, who's a full-out authoritarian dictator. And I'm probably going to make the terrorist watch list for Russia right now tonight. Okay, as one of my friends who went over to Ukraine to help out made the terrorist watch list over there. Okay, so you need to understand the mind of this person. He is someone that assassinates political rivals, talking about political violence, shoots down their jets, poisons people overseas. Okay, wait till you see this video. I'm going to play in a little while that shows him talking with his most trusted advisors. Wait till you see how far they're sitting away from him, first of all, okay? Next of all, wait till you see what he says when one of them asks a question, okay? It's a nut show, absolute nutshell. So if anybody out there has any questions, I don't think anybody does right now, but if you do, if you're thinking, Putin might be a pretty good guy, we don't know, and all that. Donald Trump recently said it, like 6 or 7 months ago, and he said it to, I think, the president of Finland. He said, Putin's crazy. He's lost his mind. I used to know the guy. I knew him for years. And he said he's lost his mind. He's lost it. And he's out of his mind right now, okay? And we're going to take a look inside the mind of Putin for a little while, okay? And see what he's all about. But make no mistake that we are at a very, very critical crossroads right now. Does anybody remember last week? Remember last week when I played the video of the big party, the big meeting in Beijing, okay, for the big parade, for the defeat of Japan, which the United States really did. China didn't do it, okay? We helped China to get out of the clutches of Japan, out of their conquest, okay, and their occupation. Anybody remember that? Now, Russia and China have historically been enemies, been adversaries. They don't like each other. I'm talking down to basic race. Like the Russians hate the Chinese for a long time. Okay. That's what I learned. You can debate me anytime you want. Anybody else in the comments watching this later on after the live can debate me as well. That's what I know. I had a specific area of study when I was in college on Russia, on the former Soviet Union, right when the Soviet Union collapsed. Okay. So I studied a lot of these things, and I know for sure racially and just their ideology and deeper cultural issues of race, they hate the Chinese. They hate the East. Okay, they don't trust them for a number of reasons. It may have come all the way back from, the emperors in China or from the Mongolian hordes. I don't know, but I do think the Russian steppe is what protected them from a lot of that stuff back then. Okay, so there's a natural fear. There's also a fear in Russia of not having buffer space between Western Europe and them. That also protected them, having Moscow a little bit more isolated, okay? All right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Let's watch this video. I think this is going to give a little more ideas right here, a little deeper insight into what's going on. This is the Polish foreign minister talking about the situation where they had to shoot down.
I think Putin is mocking President Trump's peace efforts. I think Putin is mocking President Trump's peace efforts and testing NATO. We don't believe this was accidental because previously when 1 or 2 drones reached our airspace, they came from Ukraine. These drones, a part of them, came from Belarus. And therefore this was likely planned. It's also accompanied by a huge Russian disinformation campaign. If you hear someone saying that this was a Ukrainian provocation, you can be sure that this is either Russian propaganda or someone parroting Russian propaganda.
As you know, Article 5 of the NATO Charter says that an attack on one NATO ally is, for all practical purposes, an attack on all NATO allies. So what else do you want the U.S., a key NATO ally of Poland, to do right now?
We have not invoked Article 5, but we have invoked Article 4, which says that when a party to the treaty feels threatened, she may consult with allies about what to do.
Okay, key distinction there for everybody, right, is that he's talking about Article 4 of NATO versus Article 5. Article 5 states that an attack on one NATO state is an attack on all. Okay. When I was working as the Marine Corps attaché to Rome, Italy, I dealt a lot with NATO issues. Okay. NATO Force Generation conferences where I had some of the biggest leaders, the top leaders in NATO, top generals, top politicians from the United States and from, overseas, NATO countries involved as well too. Got to meet some of our top officials, including the president at that time and Secretary of State, you name it. Okay. And so during Article 5, it's a treaty basically saying, and that's what happened during Afghanistan when the United States was attacked in 9/11, Article 5 was invoked. That's why you had all the NATO countries coming out and fighting in Afghanistan and also into Iraq, okay, because an attack on one is an attack on all. Russia knows this. It's a deterrent, okay, a big deterrent. So why do we think it's important to keep NATO intact? I know President Trump is pushing them to make bigger defense expenditures, things like that. Good to go. But it's important that we have this treaty organization in place because it's a deterrent for Russia to do what it just did in Ukraine. And you can say, well, yeah, Russia attacked Ukraine because they said that they can join NATO, okay, and possibly that's it. But I don't know. I mean, I think Russia may be crazy enough to attack anyway. Look what they're doing with Poland right now, and their own foreign minister is saying that he believes that Russia is testing NATO's resolve. Okay, so connect this with, don't forget what just happened in China. This is historic. You could say everybody's to the east, right? China, Russia, India, North Korea, they're all together. I mean, it's the axis of evil. Hate to say it. It's true. Okay. Russia and China being together. This is not normal. This isn't a normal thing. It was back in the USSR times, but even then, when you really look at the documentation from the time, the Soviet Union helped less for communist China than we previously thought after declassification of documents, things like that. Okay. So this is historic. This is different. What happened at these meetings? Why are they doing it? I'll tell you what I think. I think they see turbulence. They see problems in the economy. They see the United States engaged in a lot of different potential conflicts, a lot of different fronts. They see instability at home for us. And they're deciding to make a play. Okay, China's going to make a play. What does that mean? A violent conflict that's going to break out? Are we going to see Taiwan getting invaded by China while Russia tests NATO? We might see that. Okay. I can tell you this much. I saw news that France had alerted its hospitals to be ready within the year to take massive casualties from a European battlefront, to prepare for this, that within the year there will be a major war in Europe, and France believes it'll be the casualty collection point. Okay. So something to think about. Others are thinking about this as well too. Now, is that just a normal drill? Maybe. I don't think so though. Okay. Let's watch another one right here. Go a little deeper and on the potential for this gathering storm of possibly World War III.
And this is getting extremely serious. This is 1939, Cheryl. Poland has invoked Article 4 of the NATO treaty. That's demanding consultations. That's one step away from Article 5. Article 5 is essentially war with the Russian Federation. So we are at the doorstep of catastrophe right now. And, I don't know where this goes, but I do hope that we start to impose those costs on Putin and on Xi Jinping to show them that we mean business. Because if we don't do that, they are going to continue to run against us.
It goes back to the issue.
Well, so what I want to say here is we go back to World War II and the issue of appeasement, okay? One of the things that Neville Chamberlain for the United Kingdom, for Great Britain, did during World War II, in the days leading up to World War II, was a policy of appeasement to Adolf Hitler. He said, I understand Hitler. I think I have an agreement with him. I think if we just let him have this, like annex a country, right? Annex a country like Russia with Ukraine, okay? Or if we just go ahead and let Hitler take Poland, he'll stop there, and then we'll avoid war. I mean, we can't stop him anyway. So, and so on and so forth. And the next thing you know, they're invading France. The next thing you know, they're bombing London. Okay. Next thing you know, they're attacking in every direction, right? Conquering everything. And if you were an ally and you didn't comply, then, you know, obviously Nazi Germany had a lot of things going on, right? To genocide and you name it. But this is what he means by if we don't impose costs, and right now, if you saw what I believe, one of the senators put out just saying they're ready with a whole cost imposing package, tariffs and things like that, and sanctions on Russia. I believe President Trump's having a conversation with India. What they're trying to do is to get India to stop buying Russian oil. They need to get China to stop buying Russian oil. Will it happen? I don't know. Okay. Because when Russia is rich and they get their oil bought, they get bold. This is how it's been the past 25 years. Okay. Russia was very meek. The fall of the Soviet Union, they were opening up. We're going to see some stuff about this with the UAPs and UFOs where we gained classified documents from their military. I say we, a journalist did, because they were trying to open up to the world. Okay. And then a number of things happened, but they also gained a lot of money from selling Russian gas and oil, Gazprom. Okay. And they got strong. And when they were strong, they sought to expand, to strengthen their army, to expand their influence, all those things like that. Okay. That's why we want to weaken them by making India and China slow down the purchase of their gas and oil. Okay. Will it happen? I don't know. If they don't, Russia will be further emboldened and things will happen. Okay. I mean, things will happen like possibly war. Okay. They might not want to back down because if they can fund the war and they can cause problems and they get China to put pressure on us by making moves to Taiwan or overtures of it, the next thing you know, possibly Russia's seized another state or seized more land. And then what? We have to go in with a ground force, and they know this, to eject them. Okay. And Russia knows that, it's a huge cost for the United States, especially a divided United States, politically divided, politically, internally unstable. That's why I say, leaders, we got to step up. We got to step up, and, competition's good. Political competition, market competition, all those things makes us strong. But political violence, all this craziness, that type of division, not realizing that the world is not a safe place. We got to make our own country safe, strong, and stable if we're going to be able to take on the challenges abroad. Okay? Survival and winning and success and having economic prosperity is not a given. This isn't your God-given right. This was fought for. This was built. All these things over years, okay? All right, let's go ahead and watch a little more now. We're going to see another video here. Okay. That'll paint even more of a deeper picture, okay? And like I said, and now we're going to talk about what if China was actually in coordination with Russia, and it's just too crazy. Is it not? Tell me in the chat. It's too crazy that right now, all of a sudden, Russia tests NATO after being over there with China. Okay? And I say Putin's with China, Putin's with Xi in Beijing. Okay? And immediately afterwards, what happens? He comes and he tests NATO. Okay? And here's how I'm saying testing. Previously, when Russian drones violated Polish airspace, it was coming from a Ukrainian mission. Okay? A mission in Ukraine. And it was only temporary. This time the drones came from Belarus, very deliberate. Do you know how many drones came over? Allegedly from the reports.
This is the battle for
okay?
time.
The reports say it was 24. 24 drones. This isn't a mistake. This is a test, okay? All right. This is what it looks like and what's at stake for China with Taiwan. Let's take a look at this.
This is the battle for Taiwan, where, with the help of a team of think tank experts, we look into the future to see what might happen if the Chinese attack their island neighbor. This is the battle where the world's two biggest superpowers clash, sparking an intense and bloody conflict that many fear would trigger a third world war if it ever happened in real life. We're going to get to the battle in just a moment. But first...
Again, he said, would trigger a third world war if it were to happen in real life. Okay, but what I want to say is that did we think before? I know many strategists have, okay? I know that. Many strategists have thought this. I've thought this before. But the way it's playing out right now, okay, China's got to be just licking its chops. And I think a lot of people are naive and they think, well, it wouldn't happen. China doesn't want that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If they can do it, the United States would have to go to complete war to get Taiwan back. If it seizes Taiwan, there's no ejecting them unless we go to total all-out war with China. Yes, we could respond. Yes, we would do stuff. Do you think we would dislodge them? Do you think so? I think we could, but then what? Okay? It might be a Pyrrhic victory. They know that. They know that if they can get the drop on us, especially if they can avoid any direct fight with us, if they can just do it really fast. Okay, now we have carrier battle groups out there. We got people there. We have combat air patrol. I know all that stuff. Okay, we have Overwatch to prevent this. We have, things out there that they'd have to get in direct conflict with us. But what if it was minimal? And what if we were so busy with Russia that we're like, that's going on, but Russia's here. We can't deal with it, okay? We couldn't divert our full power. I think it's going to be fait accompli. It's going to be done, okay? All right, let's watch.
Or if it ever happened in real life. We're going to get to the battle in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at why China would want to attack Taiwan in the first place. This is the Indo-Pacific. China is here, Japan is here, and just 100 nautical miles off the Chinese coast is Taiwan. It is located in the middle of a string of islands known collectively as the First Island Chain. The chain runs from Vietnam and Malaysia in the south all the way up past the Philippines to Japan in the north. The First Island Chain separates China from the wider Pacific and gives great geopolitical power to whomever controls it. That's because incredibly valuable trading routes run through these waters. By some estimates, they carry $7 trillion worth of goods every year. That includes 40% of the world's oil and almost 80% of China's own energy imports, which are vital to the country's growth. Whomever controls these islands own energy imports, which are vital to the country's growth. Whomever controls these islands has their finger on this global pressure point and can squeeze it whenever they like, giving them...
All right. So now we see, okay, you see what's at stake. Why is this important to China? Well, this is why, right? We just talked about it. We just showed it. That's why, okay? That's why it's so important to China. That's why they're willing to go to war with it. They will increase their power, I want to say exponentially because it sounds cool, but by, I want to say orders of magnitude because it sounds cool and exponentially, but I don't actually know if that's true, okay? Numerically and quantifiably, I don't know if that's true. But it would be by a lot, damn it, okay? It would be by multiples. They would have so much more power, so much more influence, controlling trade. They could, put taxes and tariffs on things. They control the strategic lines of communication. They would control the sea lanes, all of these things like that, right? And there would be, if they had Taiwan as well too, there would be a lot less acceptable reason to have U.S. presence patrols, to have U.S. carrier battle groups. Like this really does become the South China Sea, and it becomes the East China Sea, the China Sea, not the Japan Sea, right? And so lots to consider there. Lots and lots to consider. Okay, and so what we want to do now is we want to take a look at what's inside Vladimir Putin's mind, okay? What's inside his mind? What type of person would do this? Why would he do this? He's not like you and me, okay? Maybe deep down inside, psychologically, we all have a little bit of this inside us. I'm not saying he's a psychopath, but let's talk about this. The evolution of this leader, definitely a hardened man, been through a lot, done a lot, into a dictator. And just what happens when they have unchecked power for so long. Well, we're going to hear it from Vladimir Putin himself, what he says about it, and what is the most addictive thing in the world. He's going to tell us himself what that most addictive thing in the world actually is, okay? Which I was pretty surprised, actually pretty surprised to hear. And let's see here. Well, I seem to have let me see if I can find this video. But I'll tell you, he talks about the most addictive thing in the world, okay? And what that is. And I think it's important to know that Putin has been in power, okay? He's been in power for, I want to say, 20 years. All right? He's been in power for almost 20 years. And I seem to have lost the video of this. But I'll just explain it to you, okay? Because luckily, I've watched it. I've done my research. So this is the deal. Putin has been in power for, I want to say, almost 26 years. He's just recently won another 6-year term. Won the term, okay? Political intimidation, silencing their voices, political assassination. That's how he stays in power, okay? He went from a KGB officer to government to becoming, he's 71 years old right now, so he's been in power since he was 45. Think about this. Now, I had an interview with a psychologist that was talking about leadership psychology that worked for the CIA and lots of places, okay, the U.S. government, and also in journalism as well. And it said that what happens with these leaders is that they become dictators. This is in another documentary as well, too, that I'm just combining the two for you. But what happens with these leaders, if they become dictators, meaning they seize power, it takes everything they have at the time to seize power. Then once they seize power, they want to keep the power, okay? And in order to keep the power, they have to become more powerful. And to become more powerful, they have to then restrict the rights and the freedom, and they have to seize more power from somewhere in the government, from the people, okay? So they have to restrict the ability to oust them, and they've got to seize more power, seize more control of money, of voting, of communications, of all these different things to keep in power. So what happens is that power corrupts. The absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so this is the point where Putin is at right now. The video I was going to play for you depicted him walking into his, what's the equivalent of like his war room, right? His Oval Office National Security Council meeting, where in the United States, it's a pretty tight little room. It's a little boardroom. You've seen videos of it before, but they're all pretty packed in there, pretty good together, okay? Kind of cozy. This one was straight fascist architecture with, 100-foot ceilings, huge Roman columns. Putin's desk, his desk was set apart about 30 yards from all the people sitting in a half circle around him. They had no desks. Their feet were open. They were in these little stark little chairs. And he was sitting behind an opulent desk. And he was saying, okay, we're going to talk about the Donbass situation. This is before they made the move to go into Ukraine. Okay, initial to annex Ukraine so many years ago. Okay. And so he went on the room, just yes or no. You support it or you don't? Yes, yes, no, yes. The head of his KGB, okay, actually went up. It's not the KGB anymore, but I want to say it might be the SVR, okay? And put in the chat if you know different. But he had him go up there, and he's like, so what problem do you have with this? He's like, oh, I don't have a problem. I was just asking. He's like, you either agree with it or you don't. And he said he embarrassed him on national TV, Russian national TV. He said it's a yes-no answer. You support it or you don't. What questions? He's like, well, I don't have any questions. He's like, I support it. He said it's yes or no. And he said, duh. That was it. And this is a very dangerous moment for this guy because this is where people disappear, right? No one's going to ask any questions. All the other leaders, this is his cabinet, his security cabinet, had their heads down like this. No one looking at him, no eye contact. And so what leadership analysts say, right? Part of what I do is I'm a leadership coach too. But leadership analysts will say in behavior that what he's doing, okay, is he has no one to dissent. No one's going to tell him no. No one's going to tell him he's wrong. They're just going to all agree out of fear. They're going to agree. That's all they're going to do, okay? They're going to say, I see that, Jasmine, drugs are bad, okay? But they're all going to agree. They're just going to agree with him and not say anything. So what happens is you're very capable of making huge mistakes, which is what they're saying now, that he's become a megalomaniac, okay? He just only believes in his own world. His security council and his advisors have shrunken down to only a few people that he trusts, and he really trusts no one. And he's really become very set in his ways as a leader at 71 now, where he's not as mentally flexible and open as he was before. And he thinks like he knows everything and no one can tell him he's wrong, okay? And so security experts believe he's made a huge strategic blunder in Ukraine. And I think my personal opinion is that he knows it too. At this point, he knows it too. And so the only way through, the only way to turn this from crap into a victory is to go full war, okay, and to win. And to win, to seize land, to secure his legacy. Because guess what? There's an old saying that when you're a dictator, you're riding the tiger, okay? Dictators ride the tiger. The only thing is, once you're riding a tiger, you can't get off the tiger, or else the tiger will kill you and eat you. You got to stand that tiger's back for everything you got, okay, for your life. That's what he's doing in Russia. You're riding the tiger. If he gets off the tiger, he can't go off into some little home in Siberia or go down to, some great little, Baltic Sea cottage. They will kill him. His opponents will kill him and murder him. There's no stopping until he dies. Do you guys all see it now? He doesn't care. He'll burn that country into the ground. He knows he needs to die as president. He needs to die. There's no stopping, okay? This is what I think. I think he's all in all the way. He either wins, stays in power, or he dies trying. And that's it. Because if he stops and people think he's weak and he retreats and they think he's weak, his own advisors will kill him. He's already survived coup attempts from the Wagner group. Okay, the Wagner group tried to kill him. He killed all. He wiped them out. He shot their plane down after the meeting, I think. Okay, and if I'm wrong on that, tell me I'm wrong. But I'm 90% sure, my memory serves me correctly. He shot down their damn plane after he told them, no, it's okay, just bring the people in who were involved in the conspiracy, and we'll have a trial. And I believe he shot down the leader of the Wagner group's plane. Okay, on the way out. So crazy stuff. That's why I think it's so important to understand. And so what's the big takeaway for all of you? Okay? All the way from, we're talking about 9/11 today, but to the state of our own country internally, political violence, turmoil, more courage, more leadership is needed. Okay? To instability in the international community. And what I always tell you guys is focus on what you can control, right? And I also tell you, I've told you before in past episodes, people are saying it's so bad, so crazy, but it's not as bad as you think. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, okay, I don't think the sky is falling, and it's not going to fall tomorrow, but I do think it's going to be very, very important that we hedge for the future, okay, through our own leadership, through our own efforts. But then also, it's time you really think about, okay, your own physical security plan, your financial security plan, your physical and financial survival plan, like I talked about, and we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to get that in the next segment. I'm going to answer a few questions here, and we're going to jump right into that, okay? Because one of the things physically I think that'll be so important for everyone, just a little segue, is protecting your energy, okay? Protecting your mental focus, which will protect your emotional energy, your physical energy, your ability to deal with problems and stress, okay? But the better you understand what's going on in the world, the easier it's going to be to deal with it. When you don't know what's going on and people are telling you, they're just being sensational and trying to be fear-mongering, it becomes more and more stressful, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and answer a few questions. You're going to hear from a word from our sponsors really quickly, okay? The Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and community, the Ben Pappas Ferocious Optimist coaching membership and community, okay? And then we'll get right into this. First of all, we'll hear from our sponsors, all right? So with all this being said, if you guys don't have a community, okay, if you don't have a support group and a community, I've got one for you, okay? My Ferocious Optimist community, it is live right now, and it is a fantastic place for people that are trying to level up, trying to succeed, trying to get ahead in life, okay? You're trying to earn more, be more, do more, have more. You're trying to get around supportive people that are going to make a difference in your life. And I'm here to tell you that you're going to become who you hang around. So you better choose wisely. And we're going to see this. Dave Ramsey talks about this later. We're going to talk about it a little bit in the building your financial survival plan section. But his number 3 rule is choosing your relationships wisely. Who do you let into your life? Who do you spend the most time with? Okay. All these things matters tremendously. And I'm telling you, if you don't have a support group around you and a community that you can believe in, and that you admire and that you think is rubbing off on you in the right way, I've got one for you, okay? My Ferocious Optimist coaching membership community. And what you're going to get out of that is every month we do one live coaching session that's a private Zoom call Okay, we're all on there together. You can stay afterwards. After about an hour, hour and 15 minutes of a coaching session, I'm going to teach you my best tools, strategies, techniques that have worked for years with my coaching clients, okay? Very specific. And after that, I do Q&A individually with the group. You can each ask questions. I stay as long as you want to stay. Usually it's about a 2-hour session, okay? It's a small private group. Fantastic. And when you're done, if you can't make that session, it's okay, because you give unlimited replays as much as you want in the members area of the coaching video, of the group coaching session, of the Q&A, and also of my presentation I use to teach from. And I'll tell you right now that there is almost no other coach in the business that does that puts up the presentation they use, okay, their intellectual property. I put it there. You can download it. You can use it anytime, because I want you to learn at your absolute best. Again, my whole point is to make positive, lasting change in your life, okay, in your life. Positive, lasting change in the lives of others. That's my mission, my personal mission, okay? That's the mission of this channel, of my podcast, okay, which the channel and the podcast are kind of the same thing, the Ferocious Optimist podcast, all right? And so within the coaching membership, all those things are there. That's my advice to you, is that if you don't have a positive support group around you and you're wishing to have more positive content, more positive interactions, you want to have access to me, okay? In the chat group, in the community, you can daily chat with me, daily DM me. I will coach you through the DMs, okay? And then obviously when we have the monthly coaching session, I'm going to stay there. I'm going to coach you one-on-one right there in front of the group, okay? And we're all very open and honest in there. It's fantastic, supportive, a very positive community. And within the Q&A, you're going to be able to participate with the other members and just find an amazing group of people, okay? So I can't say enough about it. Check it out. The link is in my bio. Click the link in my bio in YouTube and Instagram. If you have any questions about it, hit me up on Instagram, DM me, and we will talk, all right? I'd love to have you in there. All right, I'm going to answer some questions now. Please highlight any questions we got here. Ben, if you ever get any outside sponsors, I will help you write the segues to ease into the commercials. Okay, sounds great. That's right. Protecting your spiritual energy, protect your peace, all of that stuff, 100%. Hey, Super Slam. Hey, awesome, man. You got us both rolling right now. That's fantastic. Let's see. We got Nick's in the house. What's going on, Nick? Mark? Any questions for me, guys, right now? Yeah, I think he's FSP. Yeah, Nick, I think he's FSP. Let's see here. Garrison will be coming for sure. He's not here tonight, though. We got some other ones. If Ben ever learns to pull up videos properly, these live streams are gonna be like 20 minutes long. Becky, you're gonna get it. Becky, you're getting awful getting funny over there, huh? I think I pulled them all up right. Did any of them I not pull up right tonight? Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, he is poking the bear for sure. Any other questions, guys? You got any questions right now? You guys are funny in this chat. I'll tell you what. All right. What happened to agreeing to disagree? 100%. Okay, guys. Hey, hit me up in the chat if there's anything you want me to cover, and I will do it. Is it okay that I message you on IGDMs for the coach membership? Yes, that's fine. Totally fine. But the only reason I like to have people message me, well, the main reason within the platform on the coaching platform is because I will find it. I know I'll see it. Yours, no problem. But if it gets too unwieldy sometimes with the DMs, right? I've got 20,000 followers on Instagram, and if people are messaging me, that's why it's easier. It's more focused in the coaching membership where it's only members. So if I see a DM there, it's something I'm going to answer 100%. Okay, that's the reason why, Jasmine. It's better. But all right, we are going to keep on rolling. We're going to keep on rolling here. Okay. And I can't believe. Okay. So what we're going to talk about now, take a little swig of this. is your physical and financial survival plan, okay? Which I think is absolutely essential. So we got all this stuff going on, right? We got instability in the international environment, right? Possibly World War III starting. We've got internal turmoil at home, violence, political violence, some uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty, okay? And so what do we do? And again, I promised you we're going to create a physical and financial survival plan. But my goal is to not just have you survive. My goal is to have you actually thrive, okay? That's the difference. I want you to be able to thrive in these type of environments. And so how do we do that? All right? Well, I'm going to tell you, number one, I asked everybody in a poll on YouTube and said, what are some of the things you need to work on? And the biggest area people said they needed to work on was their habits, their energy, their drive, their motivation, okay? Their ability to stay on tasks, okay? And for me, that really comes down so much to your physical energy and what I call your power state, okay? And so what is your power state when I say this, all right? Your power state is your physical energy and your emotional energy both put together in order for you to maintain the highest and best version of yourself day on, stay on, in order to get done what needs to be done, okay? And in this world of distraction and stress and chaos, you're getting hit by news one day of a horrible train stabbing of this innocent girl. The next day, 2 days later, whatever, Charlie Kirk's getting assassinated. You're hearing about possible war in Russia. Israel's bombing people in Qatar, okay? Saudi Arabia is saying they're going to fight Israel and defend Qatar. China and Russia getting together in Beijing. All these things causing stress. Then we're seeing the market going up and down. We don't know. Prices in the grocery store are going up, okay? All this data is hitting you and causing stress on you. And life's not getting easier. I know that. Then you have relationship issues. You've got career issues. You're trying to balance a budget. If you have a budget, we're going to talk about that in a minute too, okay? You're trying to spend less than you earn. All these different things causing huge stress. And I don't know about you guys, but it's almost a daily thing where you got some anxiety, okay? You get some anxiety when you wake up in the morning. You think, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get ahead? How am I going to survive and just maintain what I've got, let alone get ahead, like Ben's saying, okay? And we've talked about some ways to do that. But the number one thing I'm here to tell you that's going to matter for you, the number one thing is this. That's going to be your physical energy, your power state, okay? How do we build our power state? And what is this power state, okay? Well, first of all, you have to understand the power of your emotions, okay? You got to understand the power of your emotions to determine your energy level. And if you're consuming negative content all day, if you're letting yourself get down in the dumps, you're sitting around, you're eating low energy food, you're not moving, you're watching negative stuff, you're getting pissed off, you're drinking sugary drinks, you're drinking alcohol, you're smoking pot, whatever you're doing, okay? It's taking you up and down, up and down, up and down. And you're doing all these things to escape reality, okay? You're eating to self-medicate. You're overeating to self-medicate, okay? Because it makes you feel good, all right? You're drinking alcohol because it makes you feel good in the moment. The next day, not so much. Your energy levels are down, okay? You're smoking the weed because it makes you feel good, okay? And so what I'm telling you is that if you're trying to get ahead, you're going to need all the energy you can muster. And a lot of people won't talk about this stuff, but I'm going to talk to you guys about it because I believe I have a fiduciary responsibility to give you guys the best I got to make sure you can get ahead in life, okay? And some people won't want to do it. Some people won't talk about things. They won't talk about half the things I talk about, okay? But I don't care because I want you to be well-armed and well-equipped to kick ass in life and to make that positive, lasting change you want to make. Because guess what? You can do it. You can do it. Your mindset matters, what you think matters. But the number one thing, okay, that's going to be there to support your mindset is going to be your physical energy, okay? So we're forming this physical plan right now, and it's going to be your power state, what I call your power state. And your power state is all about having the right attitude and energy and emotions, okay, and mindset that's ferociously optimistic that says, yeah, I can do it, okay? I can't do it yet, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to stay on this problem and I'm going to work it every damn day until I figure it the frig out, okay? In order to figure it the frig out and to put the work in necessary to do what I'm saying that you're going to do, you need to protect your energy, okay? And let's talk about how to do that, all right? We talked a little bit about that. Number one, stop the friggin' poisoning, okay? Stop putting crap into your head. Stop listening to negative crap that's fear-mongering, okay? That's taking you off on it. It's a very good distraction. It's exciting, but is it helping you, okay? I told you before, earlier, you're going to become who you hang around with. And I don't even mean just physically. What you consume, your mind will start adapting, okay? If you're listening to people that you don't admire, that haven't accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, that aren't living the life you want to live, guess what? They're going to rub off on you. It's going to influence you, okay? And for some of you, okay, this might offend you. I'm sorry. Well, I'm really not sorry, okay? We got to rip the Band-Aid off. So change. Change. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to do better at a lot of things, okay? We can all be in the fight together and all do it together. So number one thing, stop the crap you're putting into your body. Stop the crap you're putting into your mind, okay? Stop the self-medicating, okay? Find a replacement strategy, all right? And like I said, if you need to work on these things, get in my Ferocious Optimist community. Get in my Ferocious Optimist coaching program. We work on this stuff. It's in there. It's in the presentations. It's in the coaching sessions, okay? It's in the Q&A. It's in the direct. I'm only a DM away where we can work on all these things, okay? And I've got members in the audience right now, and I appreciate you being there for being here tonight. So, and you can ask them, okay? And they can tell you about it. What I want to say is next, okay? Stop the poisoning, first of all. Toxic relationships. Limit time with people that are toxic and negative and bring you down, okay? Limit it. If it's time to walk away from a relationship that's abusive, that's toxic, that's destroying you, only you know that if it is or not, okay? If it's time or not. But you might have to make some moves. At a minimum, limit your time around these people, okay? So we got to stop the poisoning. The next thing is this. Understanding the control of your emotions over your mindset and over your energy. Who here, when you've been really stressed, who here has felt like exhausted? I don't know about you, but after a really stressful day, you come home and you're exhausted. Like you feel shell-shocked. You sit there, right? And all you do want to do is have a beer. Or all you do want to do is you drink a Coke and get some comfort food, right? I get it. I understand it, okay? So here's how our emotions are made. I'm going to teach you guys this. Please pull out a pen and paper, okay? Because you don't get the presentation here, but I want you to learn this. Number one, your focus. What you choose to focus on in life, you will get more of, okay? What you choose to focus on in life, you're going to feel. You're going to feel it more and more and more, okay? It's going to be very powerful, okay? What you choose to focus on, you're going to move towards, all right? So I implore you, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. If you're focusing on things you don't want, you're going to get more of it. Why? Why do it? Okay? Now, if there's a threat or a problem and you need to focus on it to deal with it and attack it and crush it and defeat it and neutralize it, then do it. Okay? Then do it. Because guess what? Through that problem, solving it, ending it, defeating it, you're going to get what you want as well too. Because through that is a pathway to getting more of what you want. So sometimes you do have to focus on some tough things in order to deal with them. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't ignore it. This is the Ferocious and Ferocious Optimist, okay? We attack the problems. We deal with them. We process them. We don't wish our problems away, okay? That's the Ferocious and Ferocious Optimism. That's the combat mindset, okay? Next, your focus matters so much, and what you decide something means matters. So if you're watching something happen, you're seeing an event, or someone says something to you, that moment, what you decide that thing means matters tremendously. Is the cup half full or is it half empty? Is there a lesson to be learned here or is it, or not? Ask yourself, what is the opportunity in this? How can this serve me now? How can I grow from this? Okay? In those questions and in that mindset, the meaning you give to that thing will change everything and it will preserve your energy and protect you, okay? It'll make a big difference, all right? Next, Physical energy. We talked about stopping the poisoning, but I need you to move. The biggest way to change your energy state, to change your power state, is to get up and move, get up and work out, do something, okay? I don't care. Shadow box, dance, move, do something. Go for a walk, okay? Make sure you're eating well. Cut out sugar. You got to cut the sugar out as much as you can. It's causes inflammation. Cancer loves sugar, okay? I'm going to tell you guys, like, again, this is your physical survival plan. Why? Okay, some of you might have thought maybe Ben's going to tell us to get, guns and knives and all those things. Number one, you have to have the physical energy, and you have to have the emotional control and the mental focus control, the ability to direct your thoughts. If you can change your thoughts, you'll change your life. Point, period, paragraph. That's how it is, okay? If you're thinking clearly, you can avoid a lot of danger, a lot of issues, a lot of risk too, okay? Sometimes not, okay? Sometimes meaning very, very few and far between, all right? For most of the time in the civilized world, if you're thinking clearly, you're planning ahead, you can have a fairly decent, smooth sailing, okay? You got to make sure you're breathing, okay? Most people in life, they go through their lives hypoxic, meaning they don't have enough oxygen. Practice your breathing. You got to make sure you're sleeping, getting 6 to 8 hours sleep a night, okay? And if you're only getting 4 hours right now, try to get 5. Okay, if you're only getting 3 hours, get 4, all right? And don't beat yourself up for your sleep. Some people require less too. I know that, all right? But 6 to 8 hours is generally the sweet spot. Next, hydrate. Are you hydrated? Are you drinking enough water? Most people go through their lives, okay, dehydrated and hypoxic, okay? Meaning they don't have enough, they don't breathe enough, and they don't drink enough water, okay? The next part of this is that your words matter so much. Your self-talk, the questions you ask yourself, the specific words you use matter. I heard the other day somebody said, they'll say things like, "Oh, I'm starving." Are you really starving? Probably not, right? Okay. "I'm so exhausted. I feel like I could die." Okay. Are you really that tired? When you say things like this, it demotivates you. It lowers your energy level. Okay. If you try to, make a situation like, it's so bad. Like, I heard someone once say, "The wolves are at the door. The wolves are at the door." I know it's a saying, but these are metaphors implying a real life and death situation, right? Be mindful of the way you speak about things. Your words freaking matter. Your words matter, okay? Stop saying "I'm tired." Stop saying "I'm exhausted." Stop saying "I can't do anymore." "I can't take it anymore." Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. If you have to, yeah, you can, okay? I want you to be mentally tough, mentally accurate, okay? Accurate and effective thinking. Take accurate and effective action. That's what makes the difference, all right? The metaphors you use in life, the self-talk matters. Stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up. I've asked this before in talks I've given. Who here says, "I'm such a dumbass"? "Why am I so freaking stupid"? Who says it? Put it in the chat, okay? So all of these things will impact you tremendously, all right? And the last part of this is you have to know, okay, these are the basics for your physical survival plan. You have to know your powerful purpose, your why, your big why, and your mission, okay? When the why is big enough, you can figure out any how, okay? When the why is big enough, you can endure any how. Trust me. That's how it works, okay? When you have such passion, such purpose, and you're so driven to accomplish this thing or to do this thing, you can take any how, any method, any means. You'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, okay? And so create a powerful purpose for yourself. What is the reason why you need to make a change? What is the reason why you want to be able to have all this energy and this physical ability to be able to endure coming change, right? We don't know what the world's going to bring us, but I'm going to tell you tactically, when I always tell you guys, focus on what you can control, okay? You can control your mental focus. You can control your self-talk. You can control your physical energy. You can control what you put in your mouth. You can control what you consume in content, what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, who you listen to, okay? There might be that one really good guy. He's really funny, but boy, he's negative. And boy, he's just tearing other people apart. And boy, he's making me afraid and making me angry. But I'm getting such of these, so many of these damn, these dopamine hits from fear. I can't stop watching. Witness your decisions in the moment. This is called mindfulness. Take control of your thoughts. Take control of your mental focus. Be mindful of your thoughts. Direct your thoughts. Change your thoughts, you change your life. Change your thoughts, change your life every time, okay? And if you can change your thoughts, you can then work on your belief system. And if you change your beliefs, okay, the whole world opens up for you and you can accomplish anything. Trust me on that, okay? Because your number one most powerful weapon in your life is your mindset, okay? Also in your beliefs, all right? And when you believe in yourself, the person who doesn't quit and doesn't stop believing, they can move mountains, okay? And from nothing, you can accomplish something. From nothing right now, you can create something. You can accomplish something. Trust me on that, okay? If you never quit, if you never stop believing, if you keep working, even though you feel like results are coming, you still know you're doing the right things. Focus on the tactical actions. When you're in a gunfight, okay? When you're in a gunfight and you're using your tool of work as a weapon, as a gun, you need to focus on the front sight tip and on this trigger control, okay? Sight manipulation, sight alignment, trigger control. Sight alignment, trigger control. Squeeze the trigger. Keep aligning those sights, okay? Don't pay attention to this to the left. Don't pay attention to this to the right. Focus on your sights, okay? Sight alignment, trigger control, okay? Because if you start thinking about the big picture, getting all concerned, I might be killed. This might happen. They might do this. They might do that. You're going to lose sight of what you're supposed to be doing on the small details of the skill that the task you're trying to perform and the skill you're trying to perform, and it will come out like crap, okay? So don't get so much of a forward focus that you lose sight of what you're doing in the moment, okay, guys? I'm telling you this matters. And your powerful purpose, your reason why, it will give you courage. Your reason why will give you discipline. And courage and discipline together will give you confidence, okay? Because you're going to say, you know what? I know I got enough discipline to figure this out. I got enough discipline to put in the work to learn this skill or to figure this out or to make the change. And I got enough courage to step through the fear of shame, of criticism, of physical danger, of speaking up. I'm not afraid because I know what I want. I know what my values are. And when your values are bigger than your fear, you will do it. You will take action every time. When your values are bigger than your fear, you will take action. When you know what you want and what you want is greater than the fear that's arrayed against you, that's pointing at you, you will take action. You will do it, okay? And then you will have confidence. That's how it rolls, all right? Again, guys, you put any questions you have in the comments down there. I will get to it. But that, in a nutshell, is not just your survival plan, your physical survival plan. This is your physical plan to thrive. I want you not just to survive, but I want you to thrive in chaos. Because if the world goes to chaos and we start having some more chaos in our country, I want my people, I want my ferocious optimists to be ready to frickin' rock and roll and find the opportunity in the situation. I got news for you, okay? Big opportunity if there's turmoil, okay? Like the Old West, people going out there in the gold rush. Big turmoil, lots of risk. But those that were prepared and those that went out there with a plan made fortunes, okay? A lot of things can happen. You can survive and thrive in whatever comes your way. All right. Let's check out any questions we have in the comments right now. And if you have any questions about my Ferocious Optimist community and coaching membership, put it in the chat. Ask one of the other members that's in the chat right now, or DM me on Instagram. And also click the link in the bio and you can learn all about it. There's a ton of stuff in there, lots of different options to join and different programs you can get into on it. But the bottom line is get into the regular coaching membership and community. You're going to love it. Okay. All right, let me see. Ben, how can I correct my parents' negative talk towards my large goals? Super Slam, I would say this, right? I would say you don't need to tell them. Depending on how old you are, sometimes you want to keep your goals to yourself, okay? Two schools of thought on this. Sometimes you want to really keep your thoughts to yourself, okay? I mean, keep your goals to yourself. That's one school of thought. I would say definitely with family, you got to be mindful of that because they think they're protecting you, okay? One of the things that's important to know is that all human behavior serves to do one of three things. Serves to protect us, to provide for us, okay? Or to serve something that's important to us, like a cause, an idea, a group of people. Okay. So again, protect, provide, or serve. In this case, your parents are trying to protect you, Super Slam. They're trying to protect you. Okay. They think that by putting down your larger goals, they're going to protect you, and then you don't have to, and that they're protecting you from yourself. Okay. That's what they think. Okay. So I would listen to what they have to say with respect and with kindness and with grace. Sometimes it's hard. I know. And I don't know what your relationship is with your family and your parents. I don't know. I don't know what it's like. Okay. Because I do know there's some horror stories out there. I'm not so naive to think that that's not the case. But I do know that people have beautiful relationships with their parents as well too, or somewhere in between. I would recommend you ask some questions and listen, okay? And you listen to what they have to say, but you keep your own thoughts to yourself, because whether they think you can do it or not doesn't matter. What matters the most is whether you think you can or you can't, because either one, you think you're right, okay? Now, that's one school of thought. The other one is this. You make your goals public, and it puts public pressure on you, okay? Be ready for the fallout in that too, but it'll light a fire under you to get to work, okay? I would recommend doing that if you already have some skills in the area and you've already started on that path. But if you have a dream you're working on, and again, I don't know your situation, but if you have a dream you're working on, and you want to just put it out there that this is what I'm going to do this someday, and you want to put it out there publicly, there's some big, powerful results that come along with this. Okay. So, that's up to you, but I would say with your parents, if they're getting negative about it, it's putting you down, Super Slam, I would say keep the goals to yourself, keep the ideas to yourself, share it with people you think that you can trust that will be supportive. Okay. Because it's very important that you don't let doubt seep in, especially when you're trying to accomplish something new. All right. Your mindset can get destroyed with fear and doubt. Fear is the biggest 4-letter word. Fear is contagious. It's the biggest 4-letter word out there. Okay. It's face everything. Okay. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. One or the other. Okay. So protect your mindset. I hope that helps. Hey, that's awesome. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate the shout out, man. You're doing awesome. Yeah, Tim's a badass himself. I appreciate that, Tim. Means a lot, man. Yeah, for sure, Jasmine. Thank you for that. Yeah, Super Slam, you'd love it. You'd love being in there. Jasmine and Tim are both in there as well too, and we're growing it. And again, hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think it's important too, because I want you to preserve your relationship with your parents, and be respectful. Give them grace, because they think they're helping. They don't know. Right. And they might, and I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what it's about, but sometimes their wisdom may be slow burn, long-term wisdom where you see 10 years later, you're like, oh, I see what they're saying now. Ooh, I didn't think about that, but now it makes sense. Okay. Because what you think at 50 or 60 or 70 is a lot different than what you think at 30 or 20. Okay. Yeah. I would say that's true. Okay. You learn a lot just by going through life and observing it. No matter if you accomplished everything you wanted to or not, you've observed a lot of life, and you may have seen some things that you say, it's a great lesson I want to pass on someday. So, pay attention to that. 100%. Mind and body before guns and knives. Okay, awesome. Awesome, Super Slam. You can do it. You can do it. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do, if you're willing to do the work and pay the price, right? All right, guys, moving on. Physical survival. We're going to get a little more details here, okay? Here's what I want you to think about. I want you now, physical survival. We talked about our energy, and we talked about our mindset, surviving, getting ready for the physical survival to be able to thrive in chaos through that. I want you to have a plan and tools and resources available. What does that mean? Plan for emergencies. We're getting practical now, really tactical and practical. Plan for emergencies. Think them through. Depending upon your situation in life, think about what is the most probable emergency. Then visualize the best way to handle it. Ask ChatGPT. Do YouTube research. You can learn anything in YouTube, okay? I heard that from Elon Musk. I heard that from Michael Saylor, the CEO of Strategy. That is the largest holder of Bitcoin, I believe. One of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the country, okay? I want you to be able to here are a couple physical things. If you want to think about, really surviving some kind of, crazy things happening, have a means for communication. You all have one. It's a phone. Bring your charger. Be able to move, okay? Be able to make payments, all right? Have food and first aid for emergencies. If you can procure those things, you're going to be just fine, okay? I want you to think about self-defense too, but I'm telling you, sometimes speed is your best defense in a lot of occasions, okay? Especially if you have no real skill set to defend yourself. You can get a gun, but if you don't know how to use it, you might shoot yourself, okay? So I'm not going to advocate for that unless you really know what the hell you're doing, or you're willing to learn and take classes. The first four I mentioned, communication means ability to move, make payments, food, and first aid. If you have those five, that will help you escape and evade most problems if things really hit the fan, okay? I want you to think of a safety plan for emergencies, both at home and at a different location. Just have a plan. Think it through. Have ChatGPT help you. Just talk to it. Tell it your situation. Do some YouTube research. See what fits your situation. But again, forewarned is forearmed. In preparation, an ounce of preparation goes a long, long way. Okay? I'm not going to belabor this point. We're not going to be like preppers over here. All right? Rumor has it that preppers have been on the rise a lot because of all the stuff happening economically and then with Russia and then internally. Now Charlie Kirk, God bless him. But all these things, I mean, people they're planning for the worst. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about okay, financial survival. There are a couple philosophies I want to bring to you guys, but I'm going to bring you a balanced approach this time. I've been pumping Bitcoin for a while now with you guys, right now for a couple weeks, and I still do believe in it. But something that hit me, I want to make sure that I'm telling you guys about a balance here. And the balance, I believe, is the conventional practical wisdom of a guy like Dave Ramsey is very, very useful for all of us, okay? And we're going to talk about Dave Ramsey's 5 things to build wealth, okay? Because I think this is the best financial survival plan you can think of, combined with my Bitcoin ideas and my Bitcoin strategy, okay? If you blend these two things together, you're going to be freaking unstoppable, okay? Unstoppable, no matter what happens, all right? So here we go. Number 1, financial survival plan for whatever comes our way, okay? For uncertainty and to be able to thrive, not just survive in chaos. Number 1, get on a budget. If you don't have a budget and it's on paper and you use it, then you need to get one, okay? I'm going to revise mine. I'm going to relook at it, but we need to get a budget, okay? Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to do it. It's basic stuff. If you were the CFO of your company, would you fire you? Would you be fired? If you were the accountant for your company, if you were like the accounting officer, the CPA, whatever you want to say, okay, would you be fired right now? Do you have a budget? Do you know how much is coming in and how much is going out? I'm going to tell you, I'll tell a personal story. At one point, I had so many damn little apps I was signed up for and so many like Hulus and bullshit because I got 2 sons as well too. Hey, Dad, can we get this? Hey, Dad, yeah. I keep on saying yes. Next thing you know, I'm like, what the frick, man? I'm losing like $300-400 a month on these stupid ass little apps and subscriptions that I don't even use. So I got rid of all of them, okay? Number 1, we got to get on a budget, on paper, on purpose. What this is going to require you to do is to scrub your credit card bills. Scrub them. Make phone calls. Downshift everything else. If you're an entrepreneur like me, guess what? Maybe there's a day we're not making any content. And you guys know I make a lot of content. I'm always doing stuff, okay? Maybe there's a time I just set aside 1 or 2 whole days to have a reconciliation with my credit cards, my bank accounts. Where's the freaking money going, okay? Expenses can kill you. They can kill a business and run your life like a business, okay? The next thing, we're going to hear from the man himself. We're going to hear from Dave Ramsey and hear what he has to say about one of his own rules that I am just telling you. But we're going to hear from the man himself, okay? Let's hear what he has to say about this.
Know this, right? Sowing and reaping. And the second one is you need to get out of debt. Now, we know this one. You knew Dave Ramsey was going to talk about getting out of debt because you know the Bible says the borrower is slave to the lender. It's real. Now, here's the deal. Think about this. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. Let me show you what slavery looks like. This week, they came out with new data that shows that the average car payment in America today, according to the National Auto Dealers Association, is $499. That's dangerously close to $500. You take $500 a month and invest it from age 30 to age 70 in a decent growth stock mutual fund, you'll have $5.6 million. That's what a car payment costs you. So who'd you make rich? General Motors, Ford, Lexus, I don't know, Toyota, who was it? You made somebody rich. It wasn't you. And you're driving along in something you can't afford, scratching your head and wondering why your kid's college fund didn't fund it. Because we're giving it all to somebody else. And they have nicer furniture in their building, have you noticed? Something's going on here, guys. You know, and some people in here got a student loan that's been around so long you think it's a pet. You got MasterCard in your life. I mean, it's hard to be a slave if you don't have a master, so you might as well. We've discovered bondage and American distress. It just keeps going and going. And I've done it too, y'all. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying, here's the deal. Think about this. What if you had no payments? Can't even get my head around that. Well, you're always going to have a car payment. You know, I hear people say that. Little man can't get ahead. You're always going to have a car payment, so drive something nice. YOLO! Right? Which, by the way, is addressed in Proverbs. It says fool right after that. See, this is how we talk when we're losing. You know, you get ahead. I sure hope we can elect the president and we'll fix my life. Not going to happen. Neither one of them got to do it, so I'll just tell you. You're in charge of your life. It's the only one that's going to work. And that's what changes. So how do you get out of debt? Well, you have to decide to not borrow anymore. That's the first step, isn't it? We had plastic surgery at our house. Had a plastectomy. Decided we're not borrowing money anymore. MasterCard. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Money. You're weird, Dave. You're right. And I'm not broke anymore either. I decided I'm not living like this. I hadn't had a credit card in 30 years. You don't have a credit card? I don't have a credit card. That's my wallet. It's got green presidents' faces. And it's got 4 pieces of plastic in here, 2 debit cards, one on my business, one on my personal account, which will do everything your stupid credit card will do. I travel more than any 2 you put together. Shut up. It works. Okay. Dave, you're not getting airline miles. Yeah, I've met a lot of millionaires, and none of them said, Dave, you know, I made it all on my airline miles. I haven't heard that one. So I got a driver's license and my handgun carry permit. Woo! The third thing, once you're out of debt, then you need to be careful to foster high-quality relationships. What's that got to do with money? Everything. There's a huge correlation for those that build wealth and who they hang around with, because you become who you hang around with. Have you noticed that?
All right, guys, that's what I was talking about before, right? You become who you hang around with. And so he brings up the fact that, you know, not just to get out of debt, which is essential, right? Getting out of debt, not borrowing anymore. Okay, he's cutting up his credit cards. I'm giving you straight word from him, but I will say get out of debt as fast as you can. Number one thing, prioritization is credit card debt, right? As fast as you can, get out of that. I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's difficult, but work away at it. Make more than the minimum payment, okay? If you can, add more than the minimum payment. Pay that down, okay? Now, I will tell you, okay? Then you want to go after the car loans. Then you want to go after other debt like that, okay, as he's saying. And I want to say this. With the money you free up, there are a few things you can do. And we're going to talk about what he's going to say, okay? And he's talking about relationships next, because who you hang around will influence your spending habits, will influence your wealth building habits, will influence your financial survival plan, your financial plan to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive in chaos, okay? So you want to choose the right people that you admire, that you want to be like, that have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish in life to hang around. And if you can't find people like that around you, you can find them online on YouTube. You can find them in books. You can find them on Instagram and on TikTok and in all these different places. People are putting out content. So they can be leaders and mentors and coaches from afar, okay? They can be friends in this community right here. You guys are all really supportive. You're all really cool in here. You all are nice to each other, right? You don't get this all the time. So I love seeing that. In my Ferocious Optimist community, you're going to get a total go-getter group in there. But again, I would say go-getters, but also very kind, very respectful, very understanding, very great empathy, all those things as well too. So if you can't find them in physical person around you, you can find them in other places. But that's what you want to surround yourself with, that type of thinking to train your mind, okay? Again, change your thoughts, you change your life. You change your belief system, you change your life. And it starts with your thoughts and what you surround yourself, what you feed yourself, okay? That's what he's saying. So rule number 1, get a budget. Rule number 2, get out of debt, okay? And with that money you have, okay, the extra money, you want to invest it. You want to save and you want to invest. And one of the things you want to invest in is you want to invest in yourself. Okay. This is next level. Invest in yourself, invest in your skills and your abilities. Every time you invest in yourself, you'll never regret it for a day. Okay. If you have any extra money, you invest in your knowledge, you invest in your know-how. If you work with somebody or you take a course, you get a certification or something like that, this could accelerate your plans for success by years. You could shave off years in your plan to success. You could shave off months, weeks, years, okay? All those things like that. So that's another level as well too. So I'm never going to tell you, don't take a college course, don't get that certification, don't work with that coach, don't work with that mentor, don't read that book, don't do that thing. That's an investment too as well, okay? But number one, get on a budget. Number two, get out of debt, okay? Number three, you heard what he talked about. Get good quality relationships. You got to work on the quality of relationships. It matters so much, okay? Number four, save and invest. We just talked about that. And an investment in yourself is an investment. But I really also want you to save money, okay? You got to build a war chest. You got to build money for a rainy day, okay? You want to start having some savings built up that in case you have a job issue with your job, you lose your job, changing jobs, moving, all those things like that, okay? And then start to invest in the basics. I talked about Bitcoin a lot before, but S&P 500 index fund is historically very, very, very good, okay? Dave Ramsey will talk about don't get into real estate unless you have enough money to really pay down that mortgage and eventually plan to pay it off, okay? He's saying don't buy rental properties unless you have enough of a down payment to really make it work to cash flow. He even says pay that off. That's where you're really cooking, right? But I think I would personally advise you guys, having been a former real estate investor, okay, in the past, okay, I had a small real estate investment business. But one thing I learned is do not invest for speculation to try to hope the prices to go up. You want to put enough down payment down that the thing is not an alligator. It's not eating your money. It's going to pay you money. It's a business that's profitable, okay? Because if you don't have that, you're talking principal, interest, taxes, insurance. You're talking upkeep. You're talking maintenance. You're talking property management. Talking all these things and a reserve fund for when it goes vacant, okay? If you don't have all that, don't go into real estate. Keep putting away in the S&P 500. Keep saving. Your number one weapon is your income, okay? Reduce the spending. Reduce the debt. You don't need all that crap you have. Get rid of it, okay? Start with a clean slate. Get rid of it. And the last thing he talks about that I think is really important, again, that I want to go into your survival kit here, in your survival plan, is I want you guys to understand the power of generosity. And the power of generosity not just is about a transfer of wealth and money, but it's also about a transfer of energy and spirit and cheerfulness and, saying a kind word, offering a compliment, saying thank you, holding the door for somebody, doing an act of kindness. You see somebody that's struggling with something, you help them out, okay? So it doesn't always have to be charity in the terms of, or generosity in the terms of giving money. It can be giving your know-how, giving your skills, giving your energy, giving your knowledge. Again, why do I do what I do? My whole mission in life is to create positive, lasting change in the lives of others, in a nutshell, okay? My full mission is to be an inspirational leader to create positive, lasting change in the lives of others, okay? So it requires me to become a certain person so I can serve in a certain way and have a certain impact on you guys, okay? In order to make the world a better place is the full statement, right? Make my community better, make my country better, make the world better, okay? So part of it for me is that when I offer things like this, I'm getting a chance to serve. If you guys decide to go and work with me and join my membership, or you decide to work with me as a one-on-one client or whatever, comes from it, fantastic. That's a blessing. It's abundance. It's great. I'd love it. However, if not, it allows me to serve what I believe my mission is on this earth and my planet, on this planet, okay? And the way I can serve and brings meaning and fulfillment and joy and satisfaction to my life, okay? So that spirit of generosity, that spirit of giving doesn't always have to be money. It can be your energy, your time, your thoughts. I know people in this audience. I know you guys. There are a lot of capable people who have a lot of amazing things to offer, and you guys do serve in many ways. I mean, you're supporting me, and it means a lot. So I appreciate that, And hey, Sue, how you doing? Good to have you here too. And so that's Dave Ramsey's philosophy in a nutshell. Okay. Now I'm going to give you guys a quick perspective on what Dave thinks about Bitcoin. Okay. He's with, just so you guys understand, I'll give you the background on this other guy he's with. This is Dave Ramsey is this guy's mentor.
I'm not here to convince anyone.
So hold on one second. Dave Ramsey is his mentor. He's a big finance guru, Andre Geek. And Andre Geek, he's a billionaire. He's a multi-billionaire. And so Dave Ramsey's really happy for him and all this stuff. But Andre's also made a lot of money in Bitcoin. So let's hear what they have to say here.
I think we have the question answered. I would not do that, and that's why.
To be fair, I'm not here to convince anyone. I just love to get Dave's perspective, because to be honest, I think $1 trillion asset like Bitcoin will do its thing regardless of whether I speak about it or not. I have no influence over it.
And same here.
Yeah.
I don't think Bitcoin's going to fail because Dave Ramsey said don't do it.
Right.
What I'm worried about is that guy, who should be putting money in his 401k. He should have paid off his car.
Right.
He should have gotten rid of his student loan. He should be thinking long term. He should be getting his house paid off. And instead, he's freaking putting money in this stuff. That's absurd.
Right. That's a fair point. I would agree with that. There's other priorities.
He's who I worry about.
Yeah.
I don't worry about you and me. Mm-hmm. If you lost in that portfolio, if you lost 100% of your Bitcoin, you're okay.
Right.
You're still a multi-millionaire.
Sure.
You're still incredible portfolio. So, this becomes a theoretical argument at that point.
Right. What if I gave you a Bitcoin? Would you take it or would you not accept it?
Well, it would be pretty hypocritical. as much as I have trashed the idea.
Sure.
All right. So you saw what Dave Ramsey thinks there about Bitcoin. And he went on before to discuss with him about what the technology is, the value is, why it's worth something, why it's not worth something. And for Dave Ramsey, he said, look, I see a lot of people, talking about this, and there are a lot of, powerhouse investors who believe in it. He says, it's just not my thing. It's not what I believe in. I think Dave Ramsey, his business does I want to say it's like $500 million a year. So that puts Dave Ramsey probably close to billionaire status at this point. Okay. So he knows what he's doing. There are a lot of ways to make money. There's simple ways to do it. I know Cody Sanchez is another business advisor. She's big in laundromats and car washes, things like that. Right. And so there are a million ways to skin the cat. I mean, I know Magic Johnson has almost become a billionaire from owning KFCs and Pizza Huts and Chick-fil-A's and all these things. And he puts them in little shell companies, and he, so he builds up lots of franchises. So there are a lot of ways to do it, to skin the cat. Okay. But what I'm talking about is really your financial survival plan here, not just to survive, but to thrive. Okay. And so again, get out of debt, invest the money, S&P 500, invest the money in a savings plan. If you have extra, okay, if you have extra, please try to get to 0.1 Bitcoin. I've said it before. I think that way you won't miss the tremendous upside that I believe is going to happen. Okay. You don't want to be in 2030 and all of a sudden Bitcoin's at $1.2 million. And you're like, oh shit, Ben told me. And I had the money, but I didn't. Now, if you don't have the money, that's fine. You're going to get the money because you're going to work hard and you're going to spend less and you're going to earn. Okay. And you're going to establish a savings account. You're going to get out of debt, establish a savings account. You're going to go ahead and invest in the S&P 500, automatic investment, 10%, 15%. Dave Ramsey talks about 15% of your pay into that S&P 500. Okay. Plus savings altogether. And then if you have extra after that, you're earning more. Let's say you get more contracts, more skills, a better job, you get promoted, whatever it is. You find a way to invest and get some Bitcoin, then you do it. Okay. So that's what I want to say. You don't want to do the Hail Mary pass and just go all in Bitcoin while all the credit cards are full, all kinds of debt. You're riding all kinds of debt and you're like, I'm riding Bitcoin to $1 million, baby. Woo. And then once it hits $1 million, I'm going to pay off all this debt. All right. You are running the risk of having some problems. Okay. So I want to make sure that I'm being, yeah, definitely, Tim, she is, but definitely being, I want to give you guys both sides of the coin. I thought about that a lot. I'm like, all right, I really believe in this Bitcoin, but am I serving them? The guys, I obsess over this stuff. I want to see you all win. I really want to see you guys win. I want you to tell me about it someday, how this helped you, this changed your life, this made things better for you. Okay. And I'm on the journey with you. I'm not over here some guru on the mountaintop. I'm perfect. I'm working on my stuff too. Okay. And what I give to you is stuff I think is important to know, not just clickbait, not just exciting, but things that will actually upgrade your life. That's what this is all about. Okay. So tell me in the chat if that's useful for you, if that helped. And, tell me the segments you like or what you want to know more of too. And the next time I post something about an upcoming episode, please tell me what you guys want to hear, what you want to see, and then, vote on the polls. I'll put them out there because I want to also meet your needs. I know things that you should hear. I know what they are, a lot of them, but I also know you have specific problems you're trying to work on, and I will make episodes dedicated to those that add those topics in there. Okay. All right. And so we've got this rolling, man. We have got the financial survival plan going, and this might be time. It might be time for what we've all been waiting for. And you know what time that is? It is time, baby. Woo! It is South Park time. And boy, I've got some good ones for you guys today. They are gonna, I don't know. This might be the last ride of Ben's show here. We're gonna see. I'm doing more and more, expanding and pushing the envelope a little bit. And you guys might laugh. Maybe you don't think so, but I think so. So let's check this out. All right. And as again, this is for educational purposes. In no way am I trying to violate any rights of copyrighted information of any major corporation, such as Paramount Pictures, which blocked me worldwide 2 times ago when I used it. But I've learned to keep under a certain amount of time in this. This is for educational purposes, for leadership lesson, to learn leadership through satire. And satire, I believe, helps us to improve our lives in life lessons and also leadership lessons. And I know you all concur and agree. And this is for educational purposes only, not for just entertainment alone. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Let's see what Cartman has to say about...
fuck you, Kyle! I don't want to go... Sorry, my mind's made up. Well, fuck you, Kyle! I don't want to go to your faggy birthday party anyway! I'd rather hang out at home than have to be around you and your Jew mom for a day! Kiss my balls, asshole! Dude, I totally didn't mean that, Kyle. I really, really want to go to Casa Bonita. I'm sorry.
All right. How many of you have seen people that do stuff like this? Okay? Who knows someone that does stuff like this where they I'm dying too. I'm like covering my eyes right now. What the hell? But who knows someone who fights like this? Who freaks out? Put it in the chat. I'll tell you guys a story. Okay? Combat story. Everybody thinks, ooh, combat story. This must be like big manly story. No. I don't care about any of that crap. I want some fun stuff, good leadership lessons, and a funny story. Crazy story, funny story, okay? So it's in the Battle in the Joff in 2004. And so, oh, well, shit, I'll just tell it. Fuck it. So we're getting ready to go out and do a raid, okay? It's me and my Special Forces Assault Platoon commander, great guy, Mike Tarlovsky. God bless him. He got killed in this battle. Okay. He was killed a couple days after the story I'm going to tell you. God bless him. Great dude. Mike Tarlovsky, 5th Special Forces Group. So Mike and I are sitting there. We're getting ready to drive in the middle of this battle down to this other forward operating base. And literally, we have to go and talk to this dude who's this more senior officer. Okay. I'm trying to protect names because this is going to live on the internet forever. And someone's going to say something to me. Okay. Yeah, Lisa, exactly. There's stuff like that. Okay. So we go and get him. And we're like, he's like, hey, I need a ride. He said somebody, I need a ride when you guys go down there. We're like, okay. We're doing a combat convoy to go down to this, because it's in the middle of a battle in a job. So we have to go down outside of the city, make our way into the FOB. Is there a chance for some fighting? Sure. Was it that dangerous? Nah. You know what I mean? Could we have gotten IED'd and gotten blown up? Sure, that could happen. But at the time, they weren't blowing us up so much, and they were focused on fighting 1-4 Marine Infantry Battalion, my battalion, in the cemetery, and they were slugging it out. And it might have been a pause in the fight. I can't remember. Anyway, I don't think it was a pause. There was a lot of battles going on. Sorry, I'm jumping all over this. This dude, we go to him, I go over him like, hey, sir, we're ready to go, take you down there. He fucking loses it, goes nuts, screaming. He's like, he literally just goes, and he goes like this. And he goes, okay, sorry about that. Let's just go. I looked at him. I looked at Mike. I was like, Mike looked at me. Mike goes like this. This was Mike's first real experience with Marines. I was so freaking embarrassed. I was like, holy shit. This was like Full Metal Jacket moment. I'm like, this is my Special Forces friend. He's super cool. He's got a small gun this big, and I'm like, fuck. And he went nuts. And all of a sudden they just stopped. He goes, it was like some mental issue. Something happened, like a Tourette's. And he goes, okay, I'll get my stuff. I'll be ready. I was like, okay, cool. And so we drove him down there. Nothing happened. It was uneventful. We went down there. and then got set up to do our mission later. But it was absolutely cuckoo. It was the Eric Cartman what just happened right there. I kid you not. All right, Tim, you say it happened to you at a client's home today? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, man. I had no idea, dude. That is crazy. Yes, this was nuts, though. Oh my God, I got to talk to Jay and Nate about this, and Bobby maybe, and see if they, well, I'm sure they know some Mike or some of the guys from 5th Special Forces Group. But anyway, that was my little story. Then that happened to me, but we all know somebody like that. Okay, brace for this next one. I apologize ahead of time if anybody doesn't like anything I'm doing, but it's for educational purposes. As I said before, educational leadership lessons. And also, this is also about inclusivity and about understanding cultural differences and many things like that. So let's see where this takes us. But given what we talked about tonight, China invasion of Taiwan, I think this is very fitting and very appropriate. So let's see what's going on here.
This whole thing is China, and Japan is this little bitty country over here. And that's why the Japanese always try and take over China. What? The Japanese rape and kill people in Nanking. The only thing Japanese love more than killing people is killing themselves. Suicide rate in Japan sky high. Fuck you. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. I'm freaking dying. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where did that come from? Who put this on here? Who's responsible for this material? I don't know. I don't know where this came from. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, the educational you learned there. So, what we're learning there is that China and Japan have no love lost for each other, okay? China and Japan have no love lost for each other, as you know. The rape of Beijing was a real thing. And so, as funny as that is, real concern for China getting to the first island chain to Taiwan is the rise of Japan again, okay? China also endured the century of humiliation, okay, where they were basically conquered by the West, conquered by the Japanese. The rape of Nanjing occurred, all these crazy atrocities, all this stuff like that. It was very funny. And so when I saw this today, I thought, yes, I know this is a little bit getting a little sideways, but it is too damn funny to see, like, you know, I mean, they really don't like each other. They're not wrong about that. They really don't. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I mean, I lived in Japan. I've been there. I've been to China. Worked in both places, and it's absolutely crazy. They don't like each other, and so that's a great episode if you see that. But it does point out the cultural differences and how they actually feel towards one another. So another reason why that the Chinese are so big on trying to invade Taiwan and take Taiwan back as well too, because it gives them dominance of the area. They never want to experience subjugation at the hands of the Japanese ever again, or Japanese allies like the United States. Okay, and again for the first clip I played with Cartman and what he said. Listen, we're all guilty of spazzing out sometimes. We're all guilty of losing our cool. We're all guilty of freaking the hell out. We're all guilty of it. Okay. I may or may not have done that very recently, okay? I may or may not have been responsible for that on several occasions, okay? Maybe not to that extent. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on if you're on the receiving end. But we want to do our best not to pull the Cartman on people like that, or like that officer I told you about who just went wacko out of nowhere. We're all like, huh? The scary thing is, this wasn't like a friend or a client or customer. This is like, you know, a boss level figure that could really, really mess you up, right? And you have to know that cooler heads need to prevail. If you hear something you don't like, don't freak out emotionally and do that, because it's going to damage your reputation. It's going to hurt you as a leader. It's going to hurt your relationships, and your relationships are also very important for your life, okay? All right. I've made it stick for why that's educational, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. On to the next level boss, the highest, the senior, biggest boss, right? We're on to the final boss. The latest UFO hearings in Congress, okay? And I joke with this. And like I said, I'm not into conspiracy theories. And I'm not. I think this is real, though. It's not a conspiracy. I'm not like telling you there are snake reptile people living under the mountain in Mount Shasta, California, and that's why blah, blah, blah. This is for real stuff. I love it, Becky. That's great. Me too. Well, I just gave it away. I have flipped out. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. But it's been few and far between. So, yeah. So let's check this out, though. You guys aren't going to believe this crap. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But, dude, this is getting for real now, okay? And like I said, I'm trying to upgrade your life, right? And this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's fun. But honestly, what started out as kind of fun is like, holy crap, I think they're really here. I really think this is really real. If I had to bet money, I bet money that, no kidding, we're going to find out in the next, we're going to find out in the next 5 or 10 years or even sooner, maybe like next 2 years, that this crap is really for real and that they know so much. All right, let's do it. Let's get into this. I can't even explain how awesome this is. And I appreciate you guys sticking in there with me and hanging in so long. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? Put in the chat. It's fun not to be just by myself on here, but I do love this, and there's a lot of funny stuff in here. Okay, let's check this out. First of all, you guys aren't going to believe this crap. You're not going to believe this. This is a Hellfire missile hitting a UAP, a UFO. Okay? I'm going to replay that. Hellfire missile just came in from right there. See it? Okay, comes in. Boom. Hits it. The UFO right here is spinning around and around and around, but it's fine. It goes back in. They track it now. They zoom out. They're zoomed out.
This is when it zoomed out. So you can still see it traveling.
We have heard from a number of whistleblowers, specifically military pilots, that the reason for not coming forward publicly is out of fear that speaking out would cost them their flight status and potentially their careers.
By the way, this is September 9th, 2025. This was Monday, okay? So this isn't some like old crap I'm showing you from like 1970 or 2001. This is just happened the other day.
This is unacceptable. We cannot protect our airspaces if our best trained observers are silenced. We cannot advance science if we refuse to ask questions. And we cannot maintain trust in government if we keep the American people in the dark.
I'm here today because the American people have both the right and the responsibility to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomenon. That truth remains hidden, classified and silenced by fear, retaliation, stigma, and confusion. Today, we are here to help break that silence. Between 2003 and 2005, 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base, home to the National Missile Defense Project, a top national security priority.
All right, they go on and on. There's a lot of stuff in that one, but I'm gonna try and show you guys the highlights here, okay? And we're gonna talk about, so what does this mean? What does this all mean for all of us, okay? Because there's some significant things that came out during this hearing on Monday.
I'm not jumped to the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th.
All right, this is the same one.
2024.
Whoa, wait a second. October 20th, 2024. I didn't realize that. Let's see. I think this is the same one, but I didn't realize it was October 20th, 2024. That's like last year.
Video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see.
Holy crap, that is wild. I did not realize that it was October 30th, 2024. I didn't realize it was off the coast of Yemen. I didn't realize that there were 2 Predator drones tracking this. One tracking, one firing. Okay, obviously from a different area of operating box, because watch the way the missile comes in. Okay, one was probably higher, one was at a lower orbit.
Exactly what it does.
That's nuts. There it is, zoomed out.
This is when it zoomed out.
It's flying.
You can still see it traveling. So, Mr. Knapp, do you have have you heard about events like this occurring? And what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff.
All right. That's a journalist. We're going to meet him and see some more stuff from him in a second here. Okay. But it is wild. I know. Hey, how did I not know? Yeah, I am prepared. I did. I thought it was, I actually heard it. I have so much information, Tim. It's insane. My mind's like melted right now. I've watched like so much of this, but I did not know. Why didn't Mark, I think it did. I think I saw another explanation. Because here's the thing, in probably that's difficult for me is that as I do the research, obviously I'm watching videos. I don't have a place to store them. I wish I did, or somehow maybe I should save them. I got to get better with that. But I believe what they explained is that the missile either glanced off or it detonated. Someone tried to explain it, and they said what you're seeing is not what you think. But yeah, I don't know, Mark. That's a good point, because there probably would have been a big flashpoint if it did. I don't know. I remember one of the videos they explained that, though. They're saying, though, that was the full force of the Hellfire. But maybe, as you're saying, maybe they just wanted to poke the bear, so to speak, right? They wanted to, because you see how the missile kind of, flew form with it for a second and then advanced and smacked it. And maybe it couldn't detonate. I don't know. It's not a command detonated weapon. It's a weapon that detonates on its own, I believe. So that's a great question. I don't know. But the thing just kept on flying. It was like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Because a Hellfire poke on almost any other aircraft would have smashed it, would have been sent down. Okay. It would have been like an arrow flying into it. It would have smashed it. Okay. Let's watch this next one. This is super cool. Now, this is ultimate conspiracy for all the times I said I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Here we go. This is it. And next time I'm going to have Aaron pipe in. Aaron Love is going to pipe in for this time, next time I bring this up, because he loves all this stuff. But this is total conspiracy. But what you're about to learn, okay, is the connection to Russia, their UAP program, crash retrieval program, all this stuff. What if, I'm going to say it, what if all this stuff is somehow connected? What if, I don't know, what if Russia somehow friends with these guys? Or what if they know more than we think they know? Let's find out. Let's hear. There's some wild stuff here. Okay? Wild stuff. Here we go.
That material was not made here. I want to move on now to the Russia files, because that was going to be sort of the central impetus of what I was going to talk to you about today. Back in the early 90s, I got into Russia, met with a number of their defense officials, Ministry of Defense and others, who confirmed for me that Russia had been doing the same thing that the United States had been doing, that is, secretly studying UFOs while publicly saying something completely different. The documents and interviews that I obtained and have now shared with this task force show that the USSR launched what is almost certainly the largest UFO UAP investigation in the world. The first phase of that was an order was sent out to the entire USSR military empire that every unit, you see anything strange in the sky, a craft, an orb, something unusual, you had to gather all the evidence, collect testimony from the witnesses, look for physical evidence, and all of that information went into one program at the Ministry of Defense. Thousands and thousands.
Wouldn't that be nice if we were so organized like that?
Thousands of these reports came in. A lot of them were first routed to the KGB, but then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program. We have provided to the committee the documents of what they were trying to do. And essentially, they were trying to build their own UFOs. They were using...
That's freaking crazy, right? When I heard that, they're trying to build their own UFOs. So when he went over to Russia right at the fall of the Soviet Union, okay? They were being open. He went over there, was able to meet with the Russian military and find out about all this stuff because he was an investigator for UFOs. He was a journalist, but then had a lot of stories out in Nevada about UFOs. He was like, okay, it's a scoop. People are interested in it. But then he really got into it as he started learning things. And back then, can you imagine this guy had to be considered such a quack? Can you imagine in 1989, 1991 through 95, all the way to 2000? They're like, oh, this guy's such a quack. It's the alien UFO guy again, okay? All these years later, he's vindicated. Let's see.
The information from their observations and studies to try to figure out that technology. The guy who was in charge of that program, Colonel Boris Sokolov, told me that their goal was to basically develop technology that would be superior to anything we had, based on what they learned from UFOs.
Mr. Knapp, just in the name of time,
Sure.
to my understanding, did you have anything you wanted to submit for Congress to see in this committee?
I have submitted those documents.
Would you like to play any videos? Do you have a video that you would like to play?
I don't think it's for me to play.
No, that was for Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander's video.
Okay.
You can play it, he can narrate it.
Okay, we can, in the name of showing that video to everyone on task force, we'd like to play that video at this time.
Sure.
(2023) USS Jackson. UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena.
That took off earlier.
If we can get rid of the audio real quick. Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Knapp, we'll get back to what that video was in a moment, but we just want to make sure that it was entered into the record as well as all the documents. Those will be able to be publicly found for everyone in the country to view. If we could, Mr. Knapp, we'll continue on the line of questioning, but I'm going to move on to Mr. Borland's opening statement.
My name is Dylan Borland, a former...
All right, a little something else here from Mr. Knapp.
Allowed to know what. And it's a very small group that ever cracks that. I think Representative Luna has been looking at the use of classifications to hide things. I'm not sure that even this committee getting security clearances that should allow you to see this stuff would allow you to follow where it really goes.
I worry about the people that are looking at it, don't even know what they're looking at. I mean, it's gone through so many,
So what he's talking about there is that, it's hidden so well because the people that are trying to hide it have actually, he goes on to say that have actually used government contracting agencies. And he goes on to say, without me putting it all there, but Lockheed Martin, Boeing, he said all the big, the big defense contractors, he said the usual suspects. It's hidden within secret special access programs within these, these secret facilities and secret programs of these big corporations. And why? Okay, is because it avoids the Freedom of Information Act. So these contractors are doing what they're told. And if they don't know it's there and they don't know what to ask for, they can't just say to the world, if you have this, bring it out. Or else. They're never going to find out. So that's why they're telling them that you have to know the secret words. You have to know the special access program. You have to know where to look, and you have to ask for it directly. And if you do that, you can get it. But I guess they're going to go into a skiff and they're going to tell them about the classified program so they know who to ask and where to ask, okay? So more to follow on this, but I think, you probably look to see another hearing or some more information coming out over the next few months. But they're starting to get down to, where is this stuff hidden? Where is it stored? They removed it from the government, put it into private contracting so that it avoids the Freedom of Information Act. It avoids congressional oversight, all those things like that. And it's locked away with only a small group of people knowing, contractors, and they're just doing what they're supposed to do according to, other programs, probably from the DOD, that have locked it away. And probably the people that established the programs are long since gone, either dead, gone, out of office, retired, don't care anymore, and are taking their secrets with them, right? And so there's probably some government contract going on at a security firm like a Lockheed or a Boeing or Northrop Grumman, someone like that, where they they just maintain this material and they don't even know what it is maybe either. Okay, so crazy stuff, right? But somewhere someone knows, and that's what they're trying to get to. Yeah, it would be good to have Aaron on here, wouldn't it, Jasmine? So yeah, someone somewhere knows, and that's what they're getting down to. But the bottom line is that, again, what I've said before is, why do I cover this? Okay, again, the Ferocious Optimist podcast. I'm trying to upgrade your life here with this podcast. Why is this relevant? Okay, here it is. If we discover, and it's seeming more probable that it will be than not, we discover that there's alien life forms here on our planet with alien technology, craft, remains, we're reverse engineering things, stuff like that, okay? And the Russians have it, that they have a program. They're trying to reverse engineer UFOs, and the Chinese have it. We're never going to know the Chinese. The Chinese have a closed society. They might have 20 of these things, okay? And so it's important to know because, A, it could be the single largest breakthrough in human history, okay? The single largest, most important event in human history. Or B, it could be the single largest threat and devastating, dangerous thing to know and threat to our existence, okay? And so that's why I think it's so important that we take a look at this. You guys know what's going on. I know what's going on, okay? Especially as we're trying to upgrade our lives. We want to have a good context of what our operating environment is. And then we do tasks, strategies, okay? We do strategies, tasks, tactics in order to accomplish the goals we set within our operating environment, knowing everything that's going on. That's why I talk about the AI. That's why I talk about, the current instability at home and, potential war abroad, developments of major meta factors, strategic factors, black swan events like UFOs, UAPs, things like that. So you understand what the potential things are going on in the world, okay? And as I talked about too, just a review, you know what your financial battle plan is. You know what your financial plan is to survive and thrive in chaos, okay? We talked about that. Get on a budget, get out of debt. We want to find the right relationships, okay? Before we even talk about saving and investing, get in the right relationships, get rid of the bad relationships, okay? Save, invest. That also means invest in the S&P 500. It means save money. Also means invest in yourself as well, too. Anytime you invest in your skills, make yourself more skillful, have more certifications, more ability. You're more marketable. You can earn more money. Your income is your biggest weapon in building your wealth, right? And the last part of that, obviously, is having a generous spirit, okay? A very powerful, generous spirit that's not just with money and financial transactions, but it means with giving your time, your energy, your thoughts, your skills to help others, okay? And I believe what goes around comes around in that regard. And the last thing we talked about is that now, and the first thing we started off with is that now more than ever is a time for leadership, okay? We got to figure it out. We got to make sure our voices are heard. Don't close up. Don't be afraid. Don't hide, and I mean people that are liberal or people that are conservative, both. We got to find a way to exist together and to try to make our country stronger and try to make our communities stronger so that where it's okay to have competition, it's okay to have debate, it's okay to have fierce competition, but not start killing each other, okay? Not start killing each other. That's a whole nother ball game, all right? And I'm going to tell you right now, if we don't figure it out, either the AI is going to decide we're not worth keeping on this planet and the AI is going to wipe us out, or the aliens are going to say, you know what? Screw these people. They can't figure anything out. All they do is kill each other. All they do is go to war. Okay. And so we're going to wipe them out. All right. Or else we're going to subjugate them and make them into slaves for us. So we better figure it out, or else the AI or the aliens are going to figure it out for us. All right, guys. I hope you had a good time tonight. I really appreciate you being here. Had a super amount of fun doing this with you guys. And please put it in the comments if you got something out of it. If you haven't liked yet, please hit the like button. It helps the channel. If you think of it, add a comment, please. That also helps the algorithm, helps the channel as well, too. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. You'd be surprised that people come in who aren't subscribed, but please subscribe. If you think that this information will serve somebody or help them, please share it with them. Just go ahead and share it and tell them to watch, certain parts. I'm going to put chapters on here. I always put chapters in so they'll be able to see the intro. They'll be able to see they'll see the part about, Putin and Russia and China, and they'll be able to see the part about building your physical energy, your physical security and survival and thriving plan, your financial plan. They're going to see the South Park satire funny part, and they're going to be able to see the ending as well, too, with the UAPs, UFOs, and all that stuff. All right, guys, it's such a pleasure. And again, if you guys have any questions about my Ferocious Optimist community and coaching membership, please DM me. Put it in a comment in the YouTube video here, add a comment, or go ahead, DM me on Instagram. Find a way to get in contact with me that way. But in the meantime, click the link in my bio, check it out. I know you'll get a lot out of it. And like I always say, make yourselves better, make the world better. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys on Sunday. And go get yours. Let's go.